Good morning, Sunday morning. Good morning, Sunday morning.
We're 40 Sunday mornings out from normal and the world is not the same. Said you waited for a warning, but the warning never came. Don't shine a light in my face.
Nancy gonna cut you a check too late. 2 years after your funeral's paid, 2 years after the grave, she'll be a little stronger for all of the dollars she saved. Watching you wake, watching you cling to your family slipping away. Watch her do nothing but pray. Watch her condemn the Republicans, take them to brunch and then shrug it away. Now watch us be outraged half of a day, then pick a new hero to face our leaders and think they could beat them, playing the game they played since Pelosi had real human blood in her veins. They're all one and the same, sold off stocks and they all maintain that the risk was benign and the virus was tame. Flash forward and 40 Sunday mornings fade, 250,000 people in its wake and the cruise ship sailed today. So motherfucker, don't shine a light in my face. Wait.
Good morning, Sunday morning. Good morning,
Wait.
Sunday morning.
We're 40 Sunday mornings out from normal and the world is not the same. Said you waited for a warning, but the warning never came. Don't shine a light in my face. Said you waited for a warning, but the warning never.
Hey, what about you, eyeballs? What did you see?
It couldn't have been me, sir. I was front row in my AOC t-shirt, foie gras sucking on a press release, sir. My head down, fourth shot, good little sheep, sir. Sit down, sweetie. The adults are gonna speak first. They trust the science and they're terrified of research. Here to thank our healthcare heroes, they've been feeding to the burnout, feet first. Until suddenly they dip mid-shift, take a header off a bridge. Such a shame, they were really such a sweet nurse. Now they'll never get the card and the cold slice of pizza meant to thank them for their teamwork. Now they'll never get the baggie full of checks mixed, which would be the one reward they'd see for the moms they had to intubate. And the countless cries of grief since we've been haunted by the specter of the C word. Now all the applause for our healthcare heroes rings a very hollow note because we played it out like Freebird. See, add the ones and zeros in our fragile checks and balances are checks for all the wealthy who have such unholy talents that we think it's patriotic that we all got zero balances. And re-elect Pelosi so she'll face our toughest challenges. Which is analogous to water for a drowning man. Nancy disregards our impoverished with a spiteful and dismissive little waving of her withered hand. Cause 500,000 freezing on the streets is Biden's winter plan. And I bet you swore they told you were voting for a different man. But really all you wanted was a different man. It didn't make a fucking difference if he finishes the previous inhabitant's agenda and starts auctioning protected land. Biden's born to leap at any war a donor's check demands. Turns out that you can't cure greed once it infects a man. Once they lose respect for human life and focus all their fucking efforts on the oil baron rescue plan. Honey, what are we to Hecuba or Hecuba to us that if she's starving we should give a damn? Why should we be moved to tears if someone isn't eating? We won't even recognize that food is essential to our being. It's just us and motherfucking Israel who will not guarantee that food's a basic human right. Because starvation is our favorite tool of genocide disguised as sanctioned democratic healing. That's me in the corner, losing my religion, gouging out my eyes and then dancing on the ceiling. Jesus fucking Christ, what a feeling.
Hey, what about you, eyeballs? What did you see?
They'll gladly pay you by the hour for a minute or so, so you can sign off on the towers where they'll piss on your home. And if you feel like you're just powerless to answer them no, it's 'cause you are. They'll gladly pay you by the hour for a minute or so, so you can sign off on the towers where they'll piss on your home. And if you feel like you're just powerless to answer them no, it's 'cause you are. It's 'cause you are. They'll gladly stagnate a living wage, snap the chains, bury it. Labor slaves in rusty cages dragged behind a chariot, led by Mr. Racial Jungle, Joseph or Iscariot, fighting over scraps as they barrage us all with variants and BuzzFeed clickbait, straight until we're paralyzed, trying to distract us from the concentration camps that Joe had swore he'd close but only chose to amplify, where they got 50-something kids in cages made for 5 to occupy. And no, she hasn't seen the camps, but Harris swears they're paradise. She tells us the facilities are safe, and that right down to the women, they are regularly sterilized. Then she throws her head back and she proceeds to laugh, that sort of heartless cackle you'd expect from someone working steadfastly on behalf of the virus and a Congress full of parasites. And where was I? I was busy cashing every blue check, demonstrating plainly all the narratives expected from the verified. I was busy breeding verbal leeches by the terabyte. Train them to exsanguinate the wealthy while they sleep at night. Bleed the oil barons dry and barren, say they showed us how to share and now we share alike. Tell them I contracted rabies from a feral mic. Now I'm just another species losing sleep to noise pollution and these glaring lights, forced to change its habits and adapt to just survive. But now it's safe to say that some of us are thriving in the moment, throwing shit on presidential homes beneath the Paris skies. So if you feel like you're just powerless, I guess you bought the lie. But I can tell they're petrified of our collective might, 'cause I can hear those gentrifiers weeping at the sight of our collective rights. And I only can imagine the intensifying fear of knowing revolution's near, and all that's left to do is simply wallow in the thick anticipation of a rabid bite. And baby, one day you can ask your leaders just what that was like before you grab a slice. So if you think you're powerless, allow me now to change your mind. Honey, if you think you're powerless, allow me now to change your mind. See, they'll pay you hourly, tax them each apart, and build a shining tower out of loopholes and cards, and tell you that you're powerless to keep you in the dark, because you aren't, because we aren't. You see, they'll pay you hourly, tax them each apart, and make you build a shining tower out of loopholes and cards, where they'll tell you that you're powerless to keep you in the dark, because you aren't, because we aren't.
Fate demanded I be singer of a new ballad about the candidate you wanted like a finger in your fruit salad, but were made to choke down. And never mind he didn't have supporters on the ground. Never mind a website that gave volunteers the runaround, and a platform, a policy that followed Biden's lead and didn't make a fucking sound. And then he takes the crown. Now that's ascension into power by immaculate election, cause no one really wanted it and no one should have trusted it. But don't you try to question it, cause Joe is not a fan of questions, but Joe is a fan of pointing fingers right in people's faces. Or if they're not in public spaces, Joe will try to poke a finger everywhere I won't mention. Joe's soul is molded and beholden more to power than the list of fucking speakers at the DNC convention, who gave us all a show of keeping AOC at bay, just so everyone could say they tried to censor her dissension. But if you still believe the progressives we've elected give a shit if we're protected, there's a bridge I'd like to sell you in a parallel dimension. You know they're just tech savvier with media relations, propagandist Instagram and public obfuscation. Better suited to assure you that they're here to have a conversation. Better suited to assure you they aren't actively supporting your eviction and your slide into starvation. Better suited to assure you they can tweet about your needs and offer hope and motivation while you drift into the weeds, but they partnered with the moccasins and gators and the reeds. You damn sure get a portion of our meat. So, love me or leave me or mislead me to decree. Honey, you won't want to hear it, so I'll try to say it sweet. The squad are not your buddies, they are simply more discreet. The GOP will kill you on your feet. Dems and fake progressives do it in your sleep. Anyone can recognize a nation's needs and put it in a tweet. But coming from a leader in a seat of power really shows they know they're obsolete. GOP will kill you on your feet. Dems and fake progressives do it in your sleep. The squad are not your buddies, they are simply more discreet. You won't want to hear it, so I'll try to say it sweet.
IndependentLeft.news. Indie.
What's up, Indie?
Indie News Network.
Indie. I get news from Independent Left.
IndependentLeft.news.
IndependentLeft.news.
Indie Left Media.
Independent Left News.
Indie Left. Independent Left News.
Independent Left Media.
Indie Media.
Indie Left.
Indie.
Indie.
Indie Left News.
Indie Left.
Hi, Indie!
Indie Left News.
Subscribe to Indie News Network.
We're world building.
Your way of assisting, I feel like, is really cool.
IndependentLeft.news.
Independent Left News.
I'm a huge fan.
He created INN.
The founder of Independent News Network.
Indie is the founder of Indie News Network.
Thank you, IndependentLeft.news.
A huge thank you and shout out to Indie Left.
Everyone check out Indie Left News.
Hey, Indie Left.
IndependentLeft.news.
Indie. Indie.
Hi, Indie.
Indie Left.
Indie Left News.
Indie News.
Independent Media.
Independent Left News has done an amazing job.
Well, hi everybody. Hey, it's Sunday night. It's Indy, and I got this guy sitting next to me. I see we got some fam already in here. Hi everybody. It is Sunday night, and it's How Do We Miss That? And I'm psyched. I'm excited to be here. I got some really killer stories to go through, and some interesting ones tonight. How you doing, dude? Hungry, huh?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm chilling. So we got fam here. We got Lula victory. Yes, congratulations to Lula and to the party down there. Thank goodness. I guess we did not want to see Bolsonaro win again, and it was a razor thin margin. Apparently, I'm seeing like less than 2% difference between them. 50.87 to 49.13 or something like that. Gira, Anthony, Rick, Colin, Arifa saw in Haiti. Yeah, so the uprising in Haiti and the fact that media just won't go. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a chance to get to that tonight, but But again, prayers and shout out to everybody, in Haiti, and obviously that's
Colin planned to Wednesday.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, that's right. We've got a special guest booked for INN News that's going to cover it with Colin, and I think he's going to cover it either way. So good stuff. We are live over. Oh, you're going to drop it.
MMA.
You're going to drop it. Socialist MMA.
Yeah,
Colin's in the chat. Can I be Indy can be me for Halloween
already,
pick?
So.
Can I be me for Halloween? Well, it's kind of funny because if you knew who I was, I made the newspaper or like a local online thing. We all dressed up as Grease, and my daughters were like Sandy pre and before and post, the transformation, and my son dressed up as Danny, and I dressed up as a Thunderbird, and my wife's a pink lady, and it was pretty funny. But Reef unfortunately is dressed as a show producer.
I'm a hand-on face man.
That's right.
I'm a hand-on face man.
And
what is it? The classic.
And he's a
Adam
handsome
Sandler
and he's a handsome weed head. I guess that's his costume. But then again,
on faith head.
That's his costume every day. Willie Bragg, welcome. Good talking to you last night. That was a great conversation. Looking forward to appearing, taking a gander on your show and having a conversation with you about a bunch of different things. But tonight, we've got a bunch of things to get to. I want to get to it. So, how do we miss that? Is a show, podcast, streaming live on Rockfin, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and we are on Rumble. How do we miss that? Has a Rumble channel. Rumble.com/C/how did we miss that? You spell it all the way out. We're also live on Facebook, Twitter, and we're on How Do We Miss That's Twitter tonight as well. Twitter.com/how do we miss that? And you have to cut off the T, and that's How Do We Miss That's Twitter. We're also live on Odyssey and Telegram. We're on Indie Left News' Telegram. Sunday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Available also on all the podcast platforms like Spotify, where we're now loading video podcasts. Co-hosted, I'm Indy, as it says on the thing, but for the people on the podcast, I'm Indy. Hi. I'm founder and editor of Indie Left News and IndieMedia.today. That's our Substack. And I got this guy sitting next to me, Reef Breland. He's INN's technical director. He's the host of Reefer After Dark and INN News also. We're both co-founding members of Indie News Network, a collaborative family of independent content creators, one of the largest out there. Love the fam. Shout out to indienews.network. Go follow all of our family and go check out all our channels there. And we're live on all the Indie News Network channels except for Rockfin. Figure we only need one Rockfin channel. We don't need a second one for that. Okay, all the
Independent News Network.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Warren. Shout out to Warren Extra Booyah. I'm sure he's in the chat if he's not already. Also to Nikki, Radical Leftist Agenda, to all of our patrons. Again, all the stories were included that we're going to cover tonight were included in IndependentLeft.news between Sunday and Friday. It's impossible to keep up with this fire hose of developing news all week long. And our amazing friends and partners in independent media doing amazing. I mean, there's so much to cover. They're hitting us from every angle. So we're just going to pull a few stories that I really didn't see anybody else talking about very much. And again, I got to say a big thank you. We're nothing without the people that put this together. And that's Bigmadcrab, who helps us every week with our thumbnails and all of our creative and all of our art. And Greg, you're amazing. He also does music and a whole lot more. Jimi, Sunderland at IMIJ Productions, at Jimi Saves World. Check her out. Thank you so much for that trailer. Again, every week it makes me smile. Fantomas Fanto cuts our video, the clips every week. Thank you for that. Fred Edward, resident skeptic, Chris Gilman at the end. They're clutch over on the socials. All right, so we've got stories to get to.
You can find all the links to all the
IndieNews.network.
at IndieNews.network. And hook some people up. We're all hurting out here,
And go to linktr.ee.
Noli needs help. They're all in that Meet the Members section. You can find them in there.
Shout out to Tara. She's got a big week ahead. Stay tuned. Yeah. So, holy crap. So let's get to it. You can see my screen, right? You should be able to.
Sure.
Hey, okay. So we're also, like I said, live on Rockfin. I can put the Rockfin chat up. We're going to turn it off because it's just me saying hi. But anyway, Rockchain.com/IND left news. I'm going to keep promoting and keep plugging and keep trying to drive you to different stuff all night because we're everywhere and people don't even realize that we're everywhere with different accounts and different presences all over. We're on Facebook and we're doing a whole lot of stuff over there. Instagram even. Hi, everybody over on Instagram. We do clips once in a while for Instagram. We try to clip up the show. We do. We put our clips over on Instagram. We put the clips on Facebook. We put the clips everywhere. We do have a clips channel. That's over on the Rumble, rumble.com/c/how do we miss that. And now we are live streaming to that channel for the first time tonight. So, hi, Rumble. How do we miss that for the first time? Cool. All right. So we got some stories here tonight. First one, and they're kind of tied together, is Nord Stream and the turning off of Nord Stream and how badly Europe is screwed. Then we're going to talk about some labor and how much money they've got and countering the union busting. And then we're going to talk about filming the fuzz. And that's a subject I know that's near and dear to our friend Noli's heart. And this is going to be an interesting one. So we've got Oz in the chat. Hey, Oz, welcome. All right. This is what's going on. They're screwed. So how? Europe's self-destruction. Patrick Lawrence in an exclusive for SheerPost. All right. And SheerPost is one of the Indie Media Award honorees for being one of the top outlets. So definitely go and subscribe to their newsletter and support them with a donation if you can. Like the stream. That's right. Make sure to share the link, like the stream, subscribe to our channel, all the platforms you listen. Like I said, we're everywhere. Thank you so much, Anthony, for reminding me of that. So you've got everybody there at the opening of Nord Stream. This was back in 2011. And Dmitry Medvedev, who was the president of Russia at the time.
Wait, go back?
Yes.
Go back? Why does that middle guy look like he's like...
Hey, that guy looks familiar.
No, other middle guy. Middle of the thing. No, yeah. Why does he look like that? Why does he have that face?
He's got
like,
toothy grin. Toothy grin,
like,
yes.
It's just like evil man grin. Like,
well,
anyway.
Sure. So, absolutely remarkable Western media's determination to ignore the recent Baltic Sea detonations, which knocked out the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. Again, this was from last week. A major piece of this was before Russia has come out now and accused England or UK of detonating and destroying the pipeline. So they're still speculating, and there still has been no official investigation that says it, but we're going to look at a little deeper as to how, why, and what. So again, major piece of Europe's energy infrastructure, joint property of Germany, Russia has been destroyed. Any chance Russian gas transmissions westward will be resumed is off the table. Continent now sent on a desperate search for new source of natural gas, inevitably at higher prices. Cannot think of many stories more significant. We've heard all this before, right? The Western press broadcasters have reported next to nothing about this monumentous development since the September 26th explosions. Wait, what? Because we've heard nothing but, right? It's now clear that the media's silence reflects a larger silence. On October 14th, Reuters reported that Sweden has declined to participate in a joint investigation with Germany and Denmark. Wait, what? German television reported that the Danes also dropped out. So now we have a German minister stating that his government knows who's responsible for the attack, but he can't say who it is. In all three cases, the explanation is the same. The matter is too sensitive to pursue, and doing so risks, quote, national security. Right. So,
of course it does.
There will be no joint investigation of Nord Stream 1 and 2 incident. And whatever Sweden and the others may discover on their own, they have no intention of telling the world about it. One of the reasons why Russia's now come out and said this. Now, unless you're given a parlor games that never end, it's nearly impossible to avoid concluding that the U.S. was either directly responsible for sabotage or supervised those who were. If national security isn't an issue, it is plain that the Russians had nothing to do with it, and equally plain that the culpable entity is nominally allied with Germany but has no fundamental respect for its interests, of course. And it's not notable that Stockholm, that's Sweden, Copenhagen, Denmark, have decided to shut up about what happened off a Danish island close to Germany's Baltic Sea coast. Wait, what? It's shocking that Berlin has done so. I haven't heard about this either. Somebody just blew up a project worth $11 billion, $10.8 billion, that Germany, not dollars, but euro, the Germany, right, set in motion, and in which it has a majority share. And in effect, the Federal Republic has chosen to stand with what is almost certainly a state actor, as said actor impugned its sovereignty and destroyed not only its property, but also its energy sourcing alternatives. Yeah, that's pretty much what the German government is doing right now. So what are we looking at here? Well, my answer comes with a long story, of course, and that's Patrick Lawrence, who's one of the best. All right. And the truly big story Western media have left unreported. It's the story of how Europe has bowed supinely to America's dictates since the Cold War decades, even when this does the continent harm. And again, I don't think that this is much of a surprise, but lately it's a story of the disastrous toll the U.S.-led campaign against Russia via its proxy in Ukraine is taking on European societies and economies, right? Now we must wonder whether the story that began long ago turns out to end with the destruction altogether of Europe as an independent pole of power with a voice of its own, and just as important in my mind, of Europe as an idea and an ideal. We are risking a massive deindustrialization of the European continent, Belgium's Prime Minister told the Financial Times recently. So, Europe's creeping economic ruin is the most immediate, tangible casualty in the war in Ukraine, the U.S. provoked, and the sanctions regime against Russia, the U.S. leads, and the European Union backs. Wow, that's a mouthful. Right? The nearly incredible refusal of Germany and its neighbors to stick up for themselves on the pipeline question suggests that the larger consequence is the final collapse of all pretense that Europe is other than a collection of vassal states now subservient to the U.S., even at the expense of their own citizens. Well, I don't know. Well, evidence seems to indicate
We're
that.
fucked.
Yeah, thank you, Misty. Okay, think about this the next time the Biden administration bangs on about the sanctity of Ukraine's sovereignty, right? And how they're literally silencing other countries from releasing an investigation about what's happening in the Baltic and what happened with Nord Stream, because it would be an inconvenient truth. Wow. Sounds like a guy who might be locked up in Belmarsh has a similar issue. So he was long among those who wondered whether, with a certain measure of hope, when Europeans would speak up and act according to what they determined was the best for themselves. He spent decades at this. Yes, remembers thinking, continent is done with Cold War binary Washington forced on the world. Yes, we thought more recently, Europeans will refuse to support the sanctions Washington's imposed on Russia after the U.S. cultivated coup in Ukraine in 2014. German businesses didn't want them. The Greeks and Italians didn't either. When they came up for renewal every 6 months as required by EU rules, they went through anyway. How about that?
Of course they did.
Right? Then Macron came along. When he hosted the Group of Seven 3 years ago, the French president tried on his de Gaulle Act, declaring that Russia was inevitably part of Europe's destiny and the continent must find its own relationship with its vast eastern neighbor. Well, yes, I said again, failing to see that Macron is little more than a squeaky weather vane mounted grandly atop the European barn. No was the answer in these in many cases. Right. This topic came up again some years ago during an interview he did with Perry Anderson, who's a British writer and publisher. Why can't Europe find its voice? He had an interesting reply. The last generation of European leaders with any experience of acting independently of the U.S., Churchill, Anthony Eden, de Gaulle et al., etc., passed into history during the early part of the Cold War, he pointed out. Okay, so no generation since has experience other than its dependents sheltering under the American security umbrella. They know nothing else. They have never spoken in voices of their own. And this is not to say that Europe has been entirely at ease. By the mid-Cold War years, there were signs aplenty that Europeans were restive within the transatlantic relationship as Washington fashioned it. Right. De Gaulle, withdrew French forces from NATO command in 1963. That's, I believe he's talking about in Vietnam. 3 years later, he ordered NATO to close all its bases on French soil. All right. 3 more years after that, Germany premiered its Ostpolitik. Another year on, Willy Brandt became the first German chancellor to meet an East German, Willy Stoph. So it's not like they haven't like gone against the U.S.'s wishes before. Let us not forget what was going on in the streets. If you do not understand, I don't know. I'm terrible with French, but the riots in 1968. Thank you. In Paris and everywhere, and I don't know, and elsewhere in part of protest against the American imposed world order. You don't understand 1968. Okay, again, but Washington, flush with its post-1945 primacy in global affairs, had learned well by this time how to coerce its friends with a toothy American grin and whatever was required by way of money, bribes, fixed elections, political subterfuge, and all the rest. It had a nasty gift for force-marching Europeans to keep them in line with the Cold War crusade, their barely submerged disquiet notwithstanding. Yep, so basically they would coup leaders that were going against them, destabilize the country, and put in a puppet dictator. Wow, where have I heard that before? So
unity,
right? Thanks, Richie. Were those of us were those of us who wanted to see a freestanding Europe in its way a bridge between West and East so often disappointed? And so came my question to Perry Anderson only a few years ago: how come this? Right. And here we are with methane bubbling up in the Baltic Sea from what the BBC reports to be a breach of 50 meters, 164 feet, Nord Stream. Aha. Assuming American culpability of one or another kind in this crime, as I do not care for parley games, I make this assumption pending evidence. There's a straight line between Washington's capricious abuses of European sovereignty during the Cold War and the events of September 26th. A nation that licenses itself to intrude into Europe's affairs without more than murmured protests is a nation that will think little of wrecking an expensive piece of European infrastructure, especially when it has nothing to lose. And a continent that bowed down for decades during the Cold War is a continent that dares not say a word about it. So Europe's goose seems cooked on the energy side now. Saad Al-Kabi, the Qatari energy minister, said October 18th, with Financial Times, that for Europe to go without Russian gas will doom it indefinitely to economic decline and widespread suffering. I think that might be a little self-serving, but if Russian gas flows into the EU, he said, I think the problem's going to be huge and for a very long time. If it does, or if it zero gas. I'm sorry. Yes, if zero Russian gas flows. So post Nord Stream Europe is now at the mercy of hard bargain contracts in the open market, where it will never match the price at which Russian gas would have flowed on the Baltic Sea to Germany. Or it can make agreements with Turkey, as Erdogan arranges with Moscow to turn Turkey into a depot for Russian energy exports. Let's put it this way. You don't want to buy a used car from the Turkish president, never mind a multi-billion-dollar energy supply. Okay, yeah. Erdogan's not a good dude. All right, and leave it to the Americans. Macron, Robert Abchek, who is vice chancellor and climate minister in the Scholz government, right? And other European leaders are already complaining that American natural gas, due to arrive at European terminals, is priced at 4 times higher than what it goes for in the U.S. market. Well, you have to ship it across the Atlantic Ocean, dude. Yeah. It costs money. It has been clear since the Nord Stream question broke out into the open during the Trump administration that capturing the European natural gas market from Russia was part of what drove Washington's vicious opposition to the completion of Nord Stream 2. We know this. I mean, look, Trump was opposed to it when Merkel signed the deal with Putin back at, I think it was 2017 or 2018. I remember that vividly. I mean, this is not just a Biden thing. I mean, both sides wanted to end this thing. So we have to think in larger terms to explain so bold a move as the Baltic Sea detonations. What happened? There's another part of this story that extends far back. As much as Washington feared the Russian bear it fretted at least as much and possibly more about all those European impulses to achieve a stable settlement with the Sovs. Ostpolitik, which what was called convergence, a third way, and under such notions, that's the true enemy was a threat greater than the Soviet Union. It was the gravitational pull of the Eurasian landmass and the perfectly logical thought that a sovereign Europe would find its destiny as its westernmost flank, meaning that they'd stop doing business with us. Preventing this by whatever means has been a submerged feature of Washington's transatlantic policy for decades. This is why a gas pipeline took on so immense a significance for the U.S. and why whatever means just computed out to gross international crime and a full frontal attack on European interests. Right? It's pretty stunning. To turn the gaze forward.
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to keep reading, so go ahead.
No, wait. You go ahead. I was just saying, like, this is the, between that dirty bomb stuff that's been happening and, like, being claimed, and that what's happening in the Black Sea, right? With, like, British-led attacks on naval ships. Like,
well, that's
like,
except
why
that
are we this close to, like, yeah. Well,
that supposedly no ships have been sunk. There was some kind of an attack on something, but they didn't get anything. And
no, we were only kidding. It's nothing. We don't do nothing.
Where's the video?
Like,
right. Yeah, but there was like drone stuff. Where's the photography? Where's the footage? Okay, again.
Yep.
To turn the gaze forward, the most discouraging aspect of Nord Stream incident is a tie between two grim realities. On the one hand, it seems clear now that the U.S. is emboldened to do anything it likes to the Europeans to preserve its power over them. And on the other, it seems just as clear that the Europeans will take it in the way of the Stockholm Syndrome. Great. But this is not the end of the story. Well, what a surprise. Patrick Lawrence is not known for writing short ones. I can't even speculate on whether or when Europe will produce a new generation of bolder leaders with thoughts of their own. This is the age of Liz Truss and Olaf Scholz. Now, of course, Truss resigned like days later.
Not
Liz Truss.
Yep.
But Rishi Sunak is no different, right? But looking further out, I do not see that the U.S. can bring history's wheel to a screeching halt, even if it looks just as if it just did. Macron was for once right when he asserted that Russia's destiny was with Europe and Europe's in an interdependent relationship with it. This is history's lingerie, right? Plain and simple.
Lingerie?
Yeah, lingerie. It's the long game. All right. I've never heard any simple nation stopping it for more than a short while. All right? It's the long relationship.
Yep.
So who did done it? Right. So that's pretty accusatory. And that was like a few days ago. I think maybe a week ago. Again, it's come out in that was 8 days ago. This was also 8 days ago. This was also looking at deductively who had the most to gain. We knew it.
I know that guy did it.
We knew it.
I know that guy did it.
Yep. Come on, Jimmy.
Who did it?
What?
Yep.
The effing F.
Yeah, we know.
Are you kidding me?
Shout out to Joe at STF. You shit lib too. Follow Joe.
Bitches.
Yep. Hi, Steph. Okay, so Ramesh Thakur from the Spectator AU, and I found this little piece a couple days ago. I was having a Facebook argument with somebody, and they were trying to insist that, well, because we didn't have exact evidence and they never did the investigation, and we now know that they will never do a joint investigation, and why, it's all speculation and it's all Russian propaganda. Well, we're going to look at, Occam's razor. What is the simple and most obvious explanation? And we're going to take a look at a couple different breakdowns of that. Dave Burt, welcome on the Rock Fan. What's up, man? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. over here, over on How Did We Miss That? It's Sunday night. It is the end of October, and Reef is not dressed for Halloween. And of course, Indy put on a new outfit a couple weeks ago, and we're still trying that on. So that's my costume. All right. So Moscow, of course, blames hostile actors for last month's underwater explosions that blew up the Nord Stream pipelines connecting it to Germany. We know this. Western mainstream media has mostly accepted Russia's culpability. Okay. However, Michael Fowler and David Rundell note in Newsweek, nearly 90% of the world isn't following us on Ukraine. Don't hold your breath for an impartial, independent investigation with 4 plausible suspects in classic thriller style. It's worth looking at means, opportunity, and most revealingly, motive. Who done it? Yes, that's right, Colin. Reef is dressed as a pothead, and he's good at it. And he's extra smoky tonight. By the way, if you go to Dr. Smoke,
spooky red, spooky,
almost orangey. If you go to drsmokey.cloud, by the way, that'll actually take you to Reef's link tree. It's hilarious. I don't know if you even knew that.
Nice.
But anyway, drsmokey.cloud. Anyway, so the sophisticated operation about Nord Stream, getting back to Nord Stream 2 and not talking about Reef smoking weed. Sophisticated operation, of course, was likely involving a well-trained and equipped Navy, special forces, technical planning, and specialist logistical support, had to involve one or more state actors. All 4 potential suspects fit the bill. Any country with the means would have plenty of opportunity, but considering the location in waters around Poland, Denmark, and Sweden, it would be more challenging for Russia than the others to escape complete detection. Regarding motive, it's worth asking a favorite question in crime thrillers. Cui bono? Okay? History is full of examples, full of powerful countries conducting false flag operations, provoking military incidents, or issuing impossible ultimatums as the trigger to attack for an invasion. In the Mukden incident in 1931, Japanese troops bombed a railway under their own control as the pretext to invade Manchuria and establish the puppet state of Manchukuo. Yep. In 1933, of course, the Nazis set fire to the Reichstag, and Hitler exploited that to rule under emergency powers until 1945. In 1938, Britain and France delayed a war by a year by appeasing Hitler's designs on Czechoslovakia in the infamous Munich Pact. We don't really hear about that much in school, I'll tell you right now. In 1964, 2 U.S. destroyers, of course, we know, were attacked off the coast of Vietnam. LBJ describing it as an unprovoked, described it as unprovoked, despite clandestine U.S. activities in support of South Vietnamese sabotage inside North Vietnam, got Congress to pass the Tonkin Gulf Resolution that allowed a steady escalation of the Vietnam War. In 1999, again, NATO went to war against Serbia because President Milosevic rejected the Rambouillet ultimatum on Kosovo that dictated the terms of political settlement between the central and provincial governments. Again, we're going back, all these times where we're breaking stuff and we're setting false flags. Again, in November 2002, Iraq agreed to comply unconditionally with UN Security Council Resolution 1441 that imposed tough inspections. Thwarted in their desire to provoke Saddam Hussein into defying the UN as the pretext to go to war, Tony Blair and George Bush scrambled to fix intelligence around the decision to invade Iraq with as much illegality as Putin's invasion of Ukraine. I mean, if you're going to say one is the same, one is the same. What they're talking there is yellow cake uranium, if I remember correctly. So Russia has the least to gain and the most to lose from the act of sabotage that destroyed a lucrative export lifeline and its main source of leverage over Europe. So why exactly? Yeah. In a tortured explanation, James Crisp in the UK Telegraph argues that blowing up the pipelines was a page ripped straight from Vladimir Putin's playbook of panic, escalation, and misdirection Yeah, that will raise soaring gas prices and exacerbate the cost of living crisis in Europe. But Russia could have
you.
Right. Thank you, Jimmy. But Russia could have simply just turned off the valves without destroying a very expensive asset. Chris speculates further that the explosions could be a warning of what Russia could do to pipelines from Norway. Telegraph readers were not impressed. Right. David Anderson clarified Chris' thesis with words worthy of Sir Humphrey Appleby. Putin may or may not have done something which doesn't appear to make any difference, but perhaps he's doing it because he may or may not be planning to do something in the future. Yep. That about sums it up.
Dude,
and then we've got
Humphrey Appleby seems like a My Little Pony like alt character.
It probably is.
That's what it seems like.
It probably is.
You
so
know, it's like off-brand My Little Pony has Sir Roger Appleby.
So Ramesh Thacker is praising here Tucker Carlson, Jeffrey Sachs, legend, and Joe Rogan, who are among the few with the stature and courage, Joe Rogan, to discuss the possibility that the U.S. may itself have been behind the blast. Count Jimmy Dore and
who are these people?
Yeah. What?
Who are these people?
Joe. What's up, Joe? Oh, Joe Rogan?
Joe Hogan.
Oh, man. Okay, so
Hogan.
Victoria Newland, of course, we know Yats is the guy. She's a senior diplomat, and I use the term loosely, you understand, of fuck the EU fame during Ukraine's political upheavals in 2014, insisted on January 27th that if Russia invades Ukraine, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward. Of course, we know that on February 7th, President Biden said that if Russia invaded Ukraine, there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2, which was a weird jumbled sentence to begin with. There will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. Yep. Press to explain how. Well, we will, I promise you, we will be able to do it.
But what about the Nord Stream 3?
Well, I don't think that's going to get built right now. So Poland's former defense minister.
We need trilogies.
Right, and
that's
of course,
what Hollywood loves.
Public of the husband of the Polish-American Atlantic columnist Anne Applebaum, who's a Russia hawk, Radek Sikorski,
another My Little Pony character.
Well, wait a minute. But this is the dude that tweeted "Thank you USA" with the picture of the pipeline thing. Remember that? But it got deleted like 15 minutes later because it turns out that his wife's a diplomat or his wife is connected to something. It's like, oh shit, delete that. Yeah, Radek Sikorski. His wife is a columnist for the Atlantic. All right. Which, of course, Russia immediately noted, and everybody noted. So, I must be a Russian asset. Ridiculous. After the attack, Secretary of State Blinken said, it's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove the dependence on Russian energy and thus take away from Vladimir Putin the weaponization of energy as a means of advancing his imperial designs. Again, hilarious when you compare it to all the bases and all the places where we are trying to push American businesses and American business interests and do it militarily primarily. Just take a look at what's happening in Africa and, of course, Ukraine, where we destabilized their government in 2014, which Ramesh here had pointed out. So, this confirms that Newland and Biden's earlier remarks reflected a deliberate strategy. Okay, Jonathan Cook, he's another Indie Media Award honoree. He suggests that if Europe turns a blind eye to evidence of the U.S. role in the explosions, it would denote an acceptance of vassal status. But would the U.S. really attack a piece of joint Germany-Russia infrastructure that is critical to Europe, coping with an anticipated harsh winter in which people fear having to choose between heating and eating? Listen to this. It's more likely the U.S. approved the attack and helped with support and planning without direct participation, which aligns perfectly. Again, this was on October 22nd. This aligns perfectly with what Russia is now speculating. Okay, and on the 29th or on the 30th. So Poland has both commercial and historical reasons. Okay. The Nord Stream pipelines would reduce lucrative transit fees for gas shipments from Norway to Europe through Poland. It's been at the forefront of efforts to help Ukraine with all possible means and uncompromising in opposing any concessions to Moscow. Of course, they're full of Nazis too. Speaking of Kiev in August, President Duda called for the liquidation, the complete dismantling of Nord Stream 2. Yeah. Yet the notion that Poland would risk a grave rupture of relations with Germany seems a little far-fetched. Ukraine, of course, had the least to lose and the most to gain from the explosions. It's a tit-for-tat response to Russian attacks on Ukraine's infrastructure. The victim of Russian aggression, already at war and determined to recapture lost territory on the battlefield or regain them through economic pressure, Ukraine is the least concerned with escalation that will entangle NATO and the U.S. directly. Actually, they want to very much entangle U.S. and NATO. Commercially, Nord Stream enables the supply of Russian gas without having to pass through Ukraine. A significant revenue loss and a diminution. It should say diminution. It's missing an I of influence in Europe. Right. Geopolitically, the damage deprives Russia of a critical lever to blackmail Europe. Again, blackmail Europe. This is ridiculous. It's still coming from a Western source, so you have to look at the bias.
Yeah.
But he's getting it mostly right. Assuming the act is required close partnership with U.S. intelligence and military in training, supplies, logistical support, and crucial information, it will also enhance Ukraine's credibility as a potential NATO ally, which is why Ukraine didn't do it. But meanwhile, Ukraine is not a NATO member, and therefore Russia has not still been directly attacked by NATO, an important firebreak against uncontrolled escalation through nuclear threshold. Except that we're already at the brink there, and I don't think that they really give a shit at this point. And now we get to a couple of graphics that I took a look at and that I did some research on Twitter. Again, I am not going to profess to the accuracy of these. I'm going to say that logically these look like they make a lot of sense. However, I'm not an underwater explosives expert. I don't profess to be. This is a graphic I found off of Twitter. You can see that at Chuck Farrer and Eric Wyman, I don't even know who they are. However, you can clearly see here that one of the arguments that's coming from the liberals is that the Russians detonated this from the inside, that they sent a motorized device, some kind of drone inside and exploded it from the inside to make it look like somebody else did it. Except that when you take a look at exactly how it was done and the way the rupture happened and the way the explosion happened, you can see here that, again, it's impossible to say that it happened from the inside. So that's first.
With the interior liner, still pretty intact there, too.
Correct. Right. And the steel peeled outward to perpendicular to blast waves, again, which only would have happened from the outside, but would have gone a different direction from the inside based upon...
Because that shape charge or whatever, you also have the power of water, which could easily cut through steel like that. So, especially if you give it a small fracture to go into. So, those things will be like water razor blades pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, so... Right, so you're looking at the gas flow coming this way, them setting off those charges. I don't know what the difference of the gas flow is. It's just understanding which way this came out. So that was an interesting one I found. And then, of course, we have this one. This was not from Ramesh. Sorry, I forgot to take that out from the slide. I found this one on Twitter. Who hates Russian pipelines? USA. Who tried to stop being built? USA. Who said they destroyed them? USA. Who benefits from their destruction? Us. Who destroyed them? We have no idea.
Oh, we have no idea.
Blue Moon Red Wine. What's up, Lucy? How are you? INN fam. Go check out her channel. Everyone go subscribe to Blue Moon Red Wine if you're not already. Okay, I'll wait. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to wait. But go subscribe to her channel and come back. So, actually, you can click on her name, I believe, in the YouTube chat, and you can subscribe to our channel right that way. And then, of course, we have the most obvious Occam's razor. And you can see that our friend Ruski Orkbot 3000 posted this one, right? Russia invested billions into Nord Stream 1 and 2, then sailed undetected all the way to Poland, exactly where the U.S. Navy was testing underwater drones days prior, and blew up their own pipeline. Yes, complete clown show. So that is our fun Nord Stream whodunit segment. I think we cracked a case, but whether it was Ukraine or it was UK, again, I'm not really sure. I think that this guy does make a pretty decent case that Ukraine has the means, the desire, and the lack of fear about nuclear escalation, because they're already attacking their own nuclear plants to try to get who knows what. Well, allegedly, but that also seems to make sense. Allegedly. All right, we got a bunch of peeps here. All right, we got Warren in the chat. Extra booyah, booyah. And Lucy's here, like I said, Blue Moon, Red Wine. We're carrying signs now. Giggity, she did. I did see a giggity from Signs. What's up, Colin? We got Care Bear. Lazy Quackhole, welcome. I saw Oz was in the chat before. If he's still listening, welcome, Oz. Good to see you, and I'm sure it'll be Oz o'clock. Oz o'clock. I don't know, about 1:30. It might have been Paul Pelosi. You know, look, he's been. I'm not going to use the joke, but I saw today somebody made the joke. I guess I will use it. That twice in the last 6 months that he's been involved in a police incident, and both times he was hammered. No,
Stop.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to hell. I apologize to the baby and the little pygmies down in New Guinea. Tribute to Larry the Cable Guy. All right. So Kelly M. Oh, the wonderful Kelly M. And as Warren always calls you his love, Kelly M. and Jimmy as well. I'm sure Jimmy's here somewhere if she's not already. Anthony Malecki marked safe from hammer-wielding sex worker today. Good. Thank you very much. Too soon. Yes. I guess it was too soon. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I feel awful about that terrible joke that somebody else told on Twitter. It was not me. I'm repeating somebody else's words.
You apologize to baby the New Guinea. To the baby pigness in Papua New Guinea. I apologize. I'm going to hell. Okay, so I got some stories about labor, but they're not really about labor. All right, so it's about financing labor. All right, so here's the deal. Here's the deal, Jack. We got to get some Joe Biden. We actually need to get what's his name, Mike McRae doing Joe Biden, because they're good. But here, it's time for labor's fortress. It's time to tap into labor's fortress of finance. What's the thing I talk about all the time, incessantly? The Fortress of Solitude with Solomon Grundy and
Solomon Grundy. Well, no, okay. No, the fortress of finance. First of all, if you want to have a general strike, how are you going to make sure that these people can still eat and get paid and live? You need money. So, what are we talking about here? Well, unions this says, no. This is not like, well, a little bit, but not really. So, despite the recent upsurge.
Oh, no, it's not. No,
despite the recent upsurge
it absolutely will be. But
worker militancy, union membership, and density have been declining for decades. We know this. But a close look at labor's finances suggests that unions have the economic resources to potentially reverse this decline. What do you mean? Standard explanations for labor's decline blame are grossly unfair labor laws, full-scale corporate attack on organizing and collective bargaining, and economic trends, including the decline of manufacturing, of course. But labor is not a passive bystander. Unions have the resources to deploy new organizing and growth. They have chosen to pursue a defensive financial strategy instead. Consider the NEA. Since 2010, its membership has declined by nearly 300,000, while its net assets have more than doubled. The UAW has seen membership drop by 20% since 2007, yet over the last 3 years, less than 10% of its budget was spent on organizing. 25 years ago, John Sweeney was elected to lead the AFL-CIO after a vigorous debate about organizing strategy. Sweeney set out real organizing goals for the affiliate unions and proposed that they devote 30% of their budgets to organizing. Many of the affiliates rebelled, and the goal was quietly shelved. So today, Unite Here, and that's Chris Boehner's former union, Unite Here is one of the few unions that devotes significant resources to organizing, up to 50% of its budget, consistently running operating deficits, spending more than its dues revenue. As a result, it was one of the fastest growing unions. Yes, well, thanks, Rich. It was one of the fastest growing unions before the pandemic, increasing its membership by 34% from 2010 to 2019. That's a huge increase in a time when most union membership had been declining substantially. But here's what's interesting is that flush with cash. So in 2021, large unions booked $18 billion in revenue, mostly from dues, and spent $15.5 billion in operating expenses, which leaves a surplus combined of, let's do the math, $2.5 billion. Though labor's revenues are far less than those of business associations, they're substantially bigger than those of environmental, human rights, and political organizations. Really? So where did the numbers come from? The Labor Management Reporting and Disclosure Act requires unions to file financial reports every year. These reports are publicly available at the DOL website. So this financial analysis used the form LM2, which is required for labor organizations with $250,000 or more in total annual receipts. Smaller unions, which file the form LM3 or LM4, were not included. These are just the figures and revenues and assets for this piece, which represent the sum total of all unions filing LM2s, which are the big ones. All right, and this is found at radishresearch.org. You can read the full report there. All right, in 2021, organized labor held $31.6 billion in net assets, minus, that's total assets minus debt. That is more money than any U.S. foundation but one, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, with $48 billion. They've got substantial resources. Okay, while union membership declined by more than 700,000 from 2010 to 2021, total revenues increased by 33% over the decade, thanks to higher dues, because the average rose from $778 per member in 2010 to $1,089 in 2021. But also significant increases in investment, rental, and miscellaneous income, such as government training funds and royalties from selling membership lists. Yeah, where do they sell those membership lists to? That's not cool. Right? Meanwhile, unions cut staff by 20%. Meanwhile, in the Fortress of Evil,
at the
unions,
Fortress of Finance, in this case.
Well, no, at the Fortress of Union Headquarters, unions cut staff by 20%. They employed almost 25,000 fewer employees in 2021 than they did in 2010, a 20% decline in the workforce. All right, that's management positions in unions, however, of course, increased by 64%, and more than 10,000 union employees now earn salaries of over $125,000, which is good for them. That's a living sustainable wage in most cities. I'm happy for them, but I wish the workers were earning that and it was more balanced. Unions also paid out an average of $78 million a year in strike benefits during this time, which is less than 0.5% of net assets or revenues in most years. Overall, union spending increased only 18% over the decade. That's crazy. They took in all this extra money. They put nothing towards strikes. They put nothing towards spending on the union. And as a result, unions generated large budget surpluses, and their net assets more than doubled. If these trends continue, labor's assets could double again by 2031. So these figures suggest that labor had substantial assets available to deploy to new organizing and growth, but chose not to do so. I think we already kind of surmised that. Instead, to the degree it's pursuing any conscious strategy, the labor movement has followed the one laid out in a 2013 article by union researcher Richard Yeselon, Fortress Unionism. Yeselson, that's another mouthful, argued that due to the straitjacket of labor law and an uninterested working class, labor should not undertake lengthy and expensive campaigns to organize new sectors. Organizing workers takes too much time, he wrote, and it costs too much in money and staff resources to do so over that long period of time. He counseled that labor should work to buttress the areas in which it's already strong and defend the remaining high-density regions, sectors, and companies. Yeah, but that leaves tons of workers in the cold and screwed over, so screw off. No. I say no. Meanwhile, unions should wait for the workers to say that they've had enough, at which point workers themselves would militantly signal that they want unions. Yeah, that's going to happen, as you can tell from what's happening at Amazon. It's long past time to adopt a dramatically different approach. We shouldn't let labor hide behind the idea that it doesn't have the resources to fund large-scale organizing. It does. We should demand that our unions, from the local level to the AFL-CIO headquarters, back to the current upsurge with a massive investment, that they back the current upsurge with a massive investment of resources. Yes, training. Labor could theoretically afford to it. How about this? He's going to lay out, again, we don't just complain here. We talk about solutions. What can we do with this money? $3.5 billion. We can hire 20,000 new organizers. With union density hovering at 10% of the workforce, every established union has the opportunity to expand and organize within its industries, building upon its existing power. What else could they do? The real power is in the rank and filers who could lead organizing campaigns. Labor has the finances to recruit and train these worker leaders who are hungry to be part of a larger labor movement and organize their fellow workers. The problem there is that the labor leaders don't really want these worker leaders, the rank and filers, to actually have power, because it reduces the power of the labor leaders. But they could also boost the funding of worker centers and independent unions, increasing grants and contributions to $1.5 billion. Currently, labor spends just $382 million on contributions and grants to outside groups, which is only 1.2% of its net assets. That's a disgrace. In contrast, foundations must pay out 5% to maintain tax-exempt status. So they should at least be paying out 5%. So that's the logic of saying to go from $382 million to $1.5 billion, that's to go from 1.2% to 5%. That's just to keep up with tax-exempt companies or tax-exempt organizations. See, I knew Jimmy would be along. Hi, Jimmy. Many labor leaders would bristle at the comparison to foundations, right? Of course they would, since union assets belong to the members. Yes, true. But these assets are also the legacy of prior worker movements and struggles. And unions rarely win first contracts.
Bristle.
What? Okay, they cringe.
What exactly is a bristle?
I would say it's more a cringe. Many labor leaders would, well, again, I don't want to change Chris's words here, but I would say that it's cringe. They would cringe at the comparison to foundations, or they'd get angry, or they would get a little bit upset, or sandy or salty. All right, since union assets again
become like porcupines. Got it.
Oh, I could go out and be a thesaurus, but yes. Unions are rarely, again, win first contracts without support from other unions and social justice movements. So paying out as a foundation type of thing, again, unions should even probably get tax exempt status. I'd be okay with that more than churches. They at least support workers.
Sure.
The tens of millions of unorganized workers have no legal claim on labor's assets, but perhaps they have a moral claim. All right. They could also radically increase strike activity, spending $1 billion a year on strike benefits, which would be more than 10 times what unions currently spend. Could you imagine if they dumped $1 billion into strike funds? This is what I've been talking about. This is where we need the money, right? They could also capitalize a new $3 billion. Right. They could also capitalize a new $3 billion entity or entities that could engage in riskier civil disobedience activities like illegal strikes, secondary boycotts, or defiance of restrictive court injunctions on picketing and protest. That's a little riskier, considering that they're only sitting on $3 and some odd billion in change. No, $31 billion. So this is just of the $31 billion that they're sitting on. Historically, illegal attacks have been crucial to labor's growth. So why would we do that? But these days, unions shy away from such activities because they risk financial liability that could put labor's assets in jeopardy. So set up shadow organizations. Right. That's why labor could, as Joe Burns proposed in reviving the strike, spin off organizations that engage in more militant activities, turning on its head the corporate tactic of double-breasting, where a union employer sets up a parallel company to run non-union. Imagine that these new entities committed financial assistance to workers and unions defying public employee strike bans, disobeying injunctions against picketing, or violating no-strike agreements in the private sector. I don't think that you're against this article necessarily. See, this is what I'm saying, bro. All right. With more strikes in the organized sectors of the economy, the landscape might start looking like the 1930s when union membership dramatically increased. So why isn't this happening? What's holding us back from adopting a more offensive posture? Well, financial inertia. Even as membership declines, labor as a whole has been able to run large budget surpluses, and we know nearly double its net financial assets. Labor law reform and large-scale organizing do not seem to be necessary for labor's economic viability, at least in the short term. It's straight-up greed. A more aggressive approach might break the decades-long organizing stalemate in the U.S., but also subject the labor movement to significantly higher financial risk. Another challenge is that the resources of labor are dispersed among more than 10,000 entities grouped into more than 100 union affiliations. How do you get to all of them? But even if even a fraction of these unions meaningfully increase their spending and deployment of assets, as the CIO, the Congress of Industrial Organizations, did in the 1930s, it could substantively affect the landscape. Now, again, shout out to Shadowban Refugee, who of course would say, yes, totally agree. And he would say, he'd yell Taft-Hartley, and he'd be like, this is ridiculous, and why are we even talking about this? I love you, man. The alternative, to keep waiting for labor law reform, is unacceptable. And I think he would agree with that, and I do too. In 2010, labor seemed poised to win the Employee Free Choice Act, only to be thwarted by moderate Democrats and the filibuster. Okay, so we know that was conservative, right-wing Democrats. Today, the PRO Act seems headed to defeat by the same forces. But even if it wasn't, we know that that's also not necessarily a pro-labor. Though there are some good things for labor, there are also some really bad things for labor in there. So changing this dynamic will require, and by the way, check out the Shadowban Refugee segment on Frank Analysis. It's actually in the INN Substack. If you go to indienews.network and you go to, I believe it is the pinned Substack about Chris Smalls, in there we have a video clip from Frank Analysis that features Shadowban Refugee talking about the PRO Act and how it would effectively eliminate the Amazon Labor Union and roll all existing unions and need to make them required to be approved by AFL-CIO, the Teamsters, and existing organizations in order to even exist, which ALU does not.
Yeah, which is fucking wild. It's wild.
Yes. So, changing this dynamic will require labor to tear down the walls of fortress unionism put its significant financial assets at risk, and fund a wide range of strategies to take advantage of the present historic moment. But of course, we know this change is unlikely to come from the top. It's more likely to come from the workers, defying their union leaders to strike against global corporations, from reform movements for union democracy, like the carpenters did in Seattle, from public sector workers, even without formal unions, disobeying state bans on strikes, from members backing left candidates in defiance of union political directives, like what's happening with Will Lehman in the UAW right now, from independent unions defying conventional wisdom, like Starbucks Workers United and like ALU to a point, and from young workers impatient for change and intolerant of bureaucratic hierarchies. Also, shout out to the Trader Joe's union, as well as to the Apple Workers Union. They're part of the CWA, an offshoot. And you've got the Chipotle Workers Union, and you've got the nurses that are killing it right now, and the teachers in Brookline and in Massachusetts that just won another concession. I mean, labor is really starting to move. Yes, Chris Smalls ain't doing shit no more. They've been, look, they lost in Albany. He's been fighting to stay relevant with Staten Island and expand, at least in the New York area. And again, we support the effort to unionize. We want to unionize Amazon, and he's up against a mountain of a company that has $1 trillion in Pinkertons at its disposal, and he needs help. And he's either not looking for it or not getting it, and it's sad. But I don't even want to talk about Chris Smalls. What I want to talk about here again is what's happening about these what's happening everywhere else in labor, and what can be done with the assets and money that's already out there. That it is this constellation of forces that could follow the money and seize the assets from a labor movement that has failed to seize the moment. So the AFL-CIO Executive Board has approved an increase in per capita fees to raise $10.8 million for an organizing fund. What is this? The fund would increase the Fed's total spending next year to $105 million, which is a 12% increase from this year. But that total is still far below what the AFL-CIO was spending as recently as 2017. How interesting. They laid off dozens of staff as part of a restructuring in late 2017, inaugurating a period of reduced spending. A leaked budget for 2018-19 showed that the Federation was spending less than 10% on organizing. And that's, of course, our friend Hamilton Nolan over at In These Times reported, down from 30% a decade earlier. So what's going to happen to organizing when you spend 66% less? Even the new $10.8 million organizing fund is far less than the Federation spends on politics. Nevertheless, it's mildly encouraging that the AFL-CIO is increasing spending. I think they kind of have to. And if all labor is just followed its lead and increased spending by on organizing by 12%, we'd be talking about almost $2 billion in new spending. Now, that could be something. That would be something. Yeah, it's a little hopeful. And again, he is an activist who's worked with Unite Here, AFL-CIO, Teamsters. He's worked with all the different unions. Again, this guy is an organizing maven. And he's followed the money, and he knows that the money is there. Radishresearch.org. Shout out. That's some badass stuff right there. And I did have another story about what are we doing and what can we do to stop union busting. But let's pop in and say hi to everybody. Hi everybody. All right, that's my better Harry Carey tonight. So we've got Gira, we got Les Bones, Luis is in the house. What's up? Anthony and Signs, and Anthony's out on the road. We got Yippers here. Hi Yipper and Jimmy. Who's got to burn it? What's going on? I don't know. I can't follow the chat. I'm going too far back. I just want to say hi to everybody. Happy Halloween. I think we're getting close. We're within about a half hour.
An hour?
Within an hour. Yes. I know how to count. We can do math. We have fun here. Okay. Yep. So this is one of the last stories. I have two stories. So counter union busting. This is a quick one. How to win NLRB cases against union busters. That sounds interesting. And again, this comes from Labor Notes, also Phil Cohen. All right. Every labor dispute is a battle between hope and fear, is what he writes. And this is an interesting little cartoon that he includes. As big brands like Amazon, Starbucks, Chipotle lash back at worker organizing, union busting is getting long overdue exposure in the press. But while these stories graphically depict the problem, they don't offer any solutions. We talk about that a lot. Though many of the common tactics of union busting are illegal, there are only insignificant penalties that fail to discourage its lucrative practice. This is the only area of law where attorneys can advise clients to commit perjury in federal court without fear of disbarment or even censure. A union leader who understands leverage and human nature, though, can unmask their deception. I love seeing that, exposing corporate lies. Can I frame that? Right? Union busting on a plant-wide scale usually takes place under three circumstances: organizing drives, first contract negotiations, and attempts to decertify an existing local. We've seen all three of these things with ALU. The NLRB is a law enforcement agency created by Congress and President FDR in 1935 to protect the rights of workers to form unions and engage in union activity. It violates federal law for employers to interfere with those rights spelled out in the National Labor Relations Act. Okay, management is prohibited from threatening or coercing workers for union activity. It's illegal to show favoritism to anti-union employees while discriminating against pro-union employees. This is what the National Labor Relations Act says. Unfortunately, American labor law is filled with loopholes that are easy to exploit. So when employers wish to demolish an organizing drive or union local, they attempt to maintain the appearance of neutrality by using a select group of anti-union employees to carry out the dirty work. They often hire union-busting firms whose lawyers are experts at playing this game. Under our system of justice, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, including companies and the union busters they hire. It becomes the union's job to prove that management is pulling the strings. Sure. And here are some of the most common ways that companies engage in illegal union busting. Allowing antis free run of the plant during, that's anti-union employees, free run of the plant during work hours to criticize the union or circulate a petition to get rid of the union, legally referred to as free rein. The union's challenge is proving that the company knew and didn't take action. This requires multiple witnesses putting management on the scene. Management also talks with workers, saying that they'd be better off without a union. We've seen that. Management coercing workers into signing a decertification petition. We see them try to do that. Threatening to close the plant if there's a union. We know that they've done that with Amazon, and we know that, of course, Starbucks has done that. Promising raises or other improvements if there's no union. And we know that Starbucks has famously done that and offered a two-tier wage system, saying that the problem is that they need to negotiate with the union to be able to raise the wages on the unionized employees. Interfering with the right to show union support in any way, so long as it doesn't interfere with production, including leaflet distribution at the plant gate or in the canteen, or wearing union stickers and t-shirts. The NLRB defines this as protected activity, and they definitely have stopped Amazon employees from wearing Union First or ALU badges or ALU clothing. Threatening, firing, or disciplining workers for engaging in protected activity. They've definitely done that. Spooky skeletons. Okay, you gotta move that over a little bit. You gotta move that over to the right.
I'll work on it.
Okay.
God, you got a thing to do.
Yeah, they gotta immediately know. Well, you kind of distracted me there. You put it right in my field of vision. They immediately.
Sorry, I'd put it in studio mode. So.
Yeah, thanks. Notify the union at the first. Yeah, that doesn't work. At the first sign of these illegal activities, right? An experienced union rep or lawyer will file charges with the NLRB, but it becomes the job of local union officers and stewards to investigate within the workplace to gather evidence supporting the charges. Good luck with that. But when they're conducting an investigation, they should be considered covert operations. Management and antis should never be confronted about their violations. It only serves to make them more careful. Better for them to remain arrogant and feel above the law. I am above the law. Leading to mistakes that can be documented. If they're given a heads up about the union's efforts, management will keep committing the same violations, only being more discreet about it. So it's essential to understand what distinguishes evidence from hearsay or common knowledge. Everybody knows isn't evidence. We need to present witnesses to tell what they directly experienced. Somebody told me isn't evidence. It's hearsay. We need witnesses who personally saw or heard something illegal and will testify to it under oath. There are two types of evidence, cumulative and corroborative. It's best to have both. Cumulative is many people testifying about the same type of violation. Corroborative is the most powerful, several people testifying about the same incident, obviously. This is where the magical blend of organizing and legal tactics comes into play. Many potential witnesses will be frightened. That's the whole point of company tactics. Management targets people they consider weak links, but some end up feeling shamed and angry instead. First step is convincing each witness to meet privately with the union rep or lawyer. If their information is good, the union will then have to persuade the witness to provide a sworn affidavit to an NLRB agent. All the legal knowledge in the world is useless if one doesn't know how to talk to people and gain their trust. Yes. And witnesses have rights. Yep. So during this process, it's important to explain the protections granted by the NLRB to workers who testify. Affidavits are confidential. Agents are prohibited from revealing the identity of witnesses to management. They cannot be found out. I rat it out. The moment a worker sits down with an agent, they are no longer the union's witness. They become a witness of the U.S. government. The government doesn't like its witnesses being tampered with. It's a serious violation of federal law to discipline, fire, or even harass a worker for testifying. A big corporation may have lots of power, but the U.S. government has more. Yeah, tell that to our friend Matt Luttrell. While charges are being investigated, keep workers informed, boost morale, and discredit management. This in turn will inspire witnesses to come forward. Sure. Leaflet frequently. That's another thing they can do. They distribute union t-shirts and stickers. Ongoing shop floor presence of a labor dispute puts employers in awkward position with workers and lending institutions. The best way to keep people involved in a long-term campaign is to make it fun and entertaining. Humor is a powerful weapon. Poke fun at management in leaflets and cut the antis down to size. The antis being the anti-union workers that are siding with management, meaning we also call them bootlickers. Right. In situations where a union has been certified but is without a contract, another important aspect of employer violations kicks in: unilateral changes. And you know what? I do know there are situations and people that don't think that that being part of a union is what's best for them, their situation, their workplace, etc. And I respect that. I did not mean to poke fun by calling you all bootlickers. That's not my intent.
Yes, you did.
I'm talking about the people who rat out.
Yes, you did.
I'm talking about the narcs who rat out the union, the organizing employees. That's different, right? If you're one of those, fuck you. I got no problem saying that.
Yeah.
But in situations where not just scabs. No, scabs are brought in to cross a picket line. I'm talking about current employees that are ratting on their fellow employees that are trying to organize to management, so that management can start to screw with, penalize, retaliate against, or fire the people that are doing that. Okay? In situations where a union has been certified but is without a contract, like in the case of Amazon is about to be by NLRB, another important aspect of employer violations kicks in: unilateral changes. Under a contract, terms and conditions have been negotiated, including areas where the company can make routine changes. Without a contract, on the other hand, management remains frozen in the status quo Every minor job change, temporary layoff, reduction in hours, etc., must be negotiated. Starbucks is currently ignoring that order. Employers, like he says, pay little attention to this, document each instance, as often it leads to major payback awards. One of the most fulfilling days of my career took place in the conference room of a textile mill in 1996 after an illegal decertification was shot down by the board. Management wasn't present as I handed out checks totaling more than $50,000 to workers who had been affected by unilateral changes over a 3-year period when the employer refused to bargain.
Ow! It is a kiddie, a spooky kiddie.
So, presenting a good case backed by solid evidence isn't even enough. Most board agents are decent people who understand what's really taking place, but they're overworked, underpaid government employees who may take shortcuts and overlook some of the most important aspects of a charge. The NLRB needs to see the evidence through the union's eyes, and that requires knowing how to play the inside game. The union rep or attorney who filed the charges must meet regularly with the lead agent, follow up with briefs and position papers, and understand what's appropriate to go over the investigator when it's appropriate to go over the investigator's head to the U.S. attorney supervising the case or the board's regional director. You have to really fine line to walk. Now, if the union wins its case,
regional director,
right? The sub-regional managing, okay. Yes, the steam pipe distribution truncation a venue manager. So, if the union wins its case, when federal agents and attorneys feel the union has met its burden of proof, they issue a complaint against the company. It's the equivalent of indictment in a criminal case and will overturn any election tainted by management involvement. Okay, this is what happened in Bessemer, where they had to do a revote. Workers fired illegally will be reinstated with back pay, as happened with the Memphis 7 over at Starbucks. Employers can appeal this in a process that takes a couple of years. But if the union has a strong enough case, the employer will often make a business decision to cut its losses and negotiate. This usually happens when decertification attempts fail. Sometimes it happens during first contract campaigns too. Phil Cohen experienced this outcome at major corporations trying to decertify a local such as Mohawk Industries and Kmart, and during a first contract negotiations at a Serta mattress manufacturer. However, large companies that are being newly organized tend to milk the appeal process for all it's worth while committing new violations. Welcome to Amazon. This is where I hear what Amazon is doing. Don't buy into their efforts to break your spirit. Board charges give you a foundation for press coverage and to portray self-righteous management as the outlaws they are. Combine this with a solid organizing strategy, and there may come a tipping point when management realizes the ongoing campaign is hurting profits. Of course it is. Not only hurting profits, it's hurting their employees. Every labor dispute is a battle between hope and fear. Unions are at their best when we help people. Let me start that over. Unions are at their best when we help people find the courage to become their brothers and sisters' keepers. Union busters think they know human nature, but in fact, they understand only weakness and how to exploit them. They always underestimate what can't be accomplished by a group of workers whose higher instincts have been inspired. Never underestimate that a small group of people can change the world. And why would you say that? Because it's the only thing that ever has. And I hate to quote the shit livery of Aaron Sorkin and The West Wing, but that is one of my favorite scenes. And then the cheesy, God bless America. Fuck you, Bradley Whitford, for that nonsense. But that's a great scene. Cheese ball at the end, but really good. Phil Cohen, who is this guy? Yeah, he's also pretty big. He's been 30 years in the field in defeating professional union busters. So he speaks from experience on how to actually win. Ookie. You're Ookie. Actually, according to this, you're Ookie.
Pookie? Well, whatever.
Now you're Pookie. Well, you're New Jack. What up, Pookie? All right. So I got one more story, and this one is a really cool one. And like I said, I think this one's actually going to have spur some discussion. And it's not going to take that long. Right. So, Lisa Catlett, good to see you. Yes, 92 minutes. Really? Has it been that long? No, it's not 92. It's only about 82. We started about 10 minutes in, 12 minutes in. So you can go back to about 12 minutes if you want to start over, or you can start at 12 minutes when we're done. But yes, class traders. All right. Last story. Live streaming traffic stops. Film the fuzz. What? Yeah. So,
what?
The right to live stream traffic stops debated at Fourth Circuit. And again, this is a federal court. This is Courthouse News Service, who I used to use a whole lot more, but then they started referencing the AP a whole lot. And I noticed a lot of shit libbery, as well as a lot of championing of State Department narratives with regard to Russia-Ukraine. However, this one was interesting. A shouting match erupted between a judge and an attorney at a hearing over whether passengers in cars pulled over by police can broadcast their encounters with officers. What do you guys think about that? Should passengers in cars be able to film the fuzz? Dude, that's distracting. Come on. Come on.
What?
Come on, bro.
What?
At least move that over
to you. Dude.
At least move that over and cover up the mic, the bong arm with it. I can't even see that.
I got,
bro.
I'm working on it.
You're killing me over here.
What are you doing?
Are we telling stories and playing games over here? And you should have done this before the show. Come on.
Both.
Come on, bro.
I should have, but I didn't.
Yeah, thanks, man. All right.
Do the show.
A cab. All cops are bad. All cops are bastards. 40%. Google 40% of cops, everybody. 40% of cops, everybody. Okay. So, a 3-judge panel on the Fourth Circuit heard lively arguments Thursday over whether officers have the right to prevent passengers from live streaming traffic stops. Bijan Sharp was riding in a car that was pulled over in Winterville, North Carolina in 2018 when he decided to broadcast a police interaction in real time on Facebook Live. According to a 9-page complaint he filed in federal court the following year, Sharp is a black male who records and broadcasts his interactions with law enforcement for his own protection. I think that's understandably so. Sharp says his First Amendment rights were violated when he was physically attacked by a Winterville police officer after disclosing that he was live streaming the stop, and when he was threatened with arrest by another officer if he attempted to broadcast such interactions in the future. The district court dismissed Sharp's lawsuit, finding it was not clearly established at the time of the incident that a passenger in a stopped vehicle has a constitutional right to record and live stream the interaction. Really? Sharp's attorneys disagree and said in their brief to the Fourth Circuit that by October 2018, it was clearly established nationwide that individuals have a First Amendment right to record police officers in the discharge of their duties in public. It was also clearly established that such a right includes the right to disseminate those recordings in real time. I would say that that's a requirement because otherwise the cop can just get the device that's recording and dismantle it or confiscate it. Attorney Andrew Tutt of Arnold and Porter, who represented Sharp during oral arguments on Thursday, said the district court was wrong. This case raises questions that strike the very heart of the First Amendment's most important protections, he said. First Amendment, not Fourth. First Amendment, Fourth District. Tutt began to tell the 3-judge panel from the Fourth Circuit that the right to film police officers in public is a clearly established First Amendment right, but he was hastily interrupted by U.S. Circuit Judge Paul Niermeyer, a George H.W. Bush appointee. What? Why? Huh? Okay. The briefs on both sides spent a lot of time talking about a First Amendment right to photograph police work in public, whether by the press or friends or other people watching, and cases seem to support a First Amendment claim there. And the debate in the brief seemed to be whether the Fourth Circuit ought to do that, and my question is whether that's relevant at all. What? Effing F? Yes, thank you, Jimmy. Niermeyer says he thinks that the dispute actually arises from the Fourth Amendment, under which passengers and drivers are subject to the same level of police control during a stop and seizure. The difference here, he responded, is that Sharp was merely broadcasting passively. Right. So the officers had no specific or articulable reason to demand that the passenger stop broadcasting, and there was no governmental interest in doing so. Unless he planned to do something illegal, why would it be a problem if they're filming him? Interrupting Tut several times to reformulate his question, Niermeyer asked, what rights does an officer have to maintain control of the circumstances during a traffic stop? Well, okay, licking the boots of the cops. Niermeyer's line of questioning devolved into a period of the judge and attorney talking over each other in increasingly irritated tones until the voice of U.S. Circuit Judge Julius Richardson cut through the noise. Quote, I think he's trying to ask you a question, Richardson, a Trump appointee told the attorney. He sternly added, I'm not sure why you're so excited right now, but I think you want to try to answer his question and not talk over him. Bootlicking fucking cop defenders. An apology from Tut followed a brief stunned silence from the courtroom. Yeah, they can't believe it either. What are these dudes doing? Niermeyer asked how limiting passenger live streaming might benefit the safety of officers, but continued to interrupt the attorney until his time was up. They ran the clock out on him. Quote, as I think your honors have recognized through questioning, this is not a case about whether there is a general right to record police officers in their public duties. Okay, and that's the one who represented the cops during the hearing. He added that this is simply not before the court. What is before the court is the right of a passenger in a seized vehicle in a lawfully stopped traffic stop to live stream the encounter from within the vehicle. It's a seized vehicle when it's pulled over. I don't know if it's necessarily seized until they actually take some type of possession
when
of
it's
it.
pulled over, yeah.
That's
right. You have to then be detained and
right. He said that in this case, there actually is an intersection of the First and Fourth Amendments. Again, that's why I think this is a fascinating story to talk about, because this is open-ended as to interpretation. All right. Now we've got Axel Strife Zero saying broadcasting isn't changing the circumstances of the traffic stop unless the cop is trying to do something illegal, which is exactly my contention. Why do you care unless you're doing something wrong? All right. Because the possibility is there that they can film you doing something wrong and then indict you. Well, incriminate you. Well, then don't do something wrong. U.S. District Judge Michael Nachmanoff, an appointee of Biden, sitting by designation from the Eastern District of Virginia, asked Hartzog whether every traffic stop can become one in which the individuals are asked to get out of their car. Quote, I think the general case law is, in this, Your Honor, is that the inherent dangerousness of traffic stops is long recognized by the Supreme Court, not based on the fact that, well, this is just a minor traffic stop, but based on the potential for the traffic stop to turn into a more serious, potentially deadly, violent encounter, he responded. More cop bootlicking. Nachmanoff pressed, so the mother of 5 small children is pulled over for running through the stop sign, can be viewed as potentially dangerous, and asked to be stepped out of the car and frisked because she might be armed? Well, yeah.
This might be.
Might be.
Might be.
The attorney responded, well, it's a matter of reasonableness, and proceeded to defend the position that this is a Fourth Amendment and not a First Amendment case. So they're trying to get it dismissed on the fact that it's not even really applicable. So then you've got Joseph McGinnis, who represents the Southern States Police, the PBA, another bootlicking lawyer, filed a motion earlier this year to intervene in the case and participate in the arguments. Yeah, I wonder which side he's going to fall on. Quote, officers have legal duties, responsibilities, and protocols to follow. And what they are taught and trained is to look at these two things that God gave us, the hands, and the things that are in those hands, especially when it is a metal object like a cell phone that can be and has been used as weapons, he told the panel. So now a cell phone is a weapon. Yeah. when it films you actually doing something illegal, it certainly counts as a weapon against you being a cop anymore. However, this group argues that recording should be allowed as long as it's not live broadcasting. Again, so that they can then take the device and stomp it. They cited concerns that a live streamer might call local gang members to come attack officers on the scene. That's a valid point. Okay, yes, but how often is that going to happen versus filming dirty cops and exposing them for what they're doing, which is happening more often? Have a good night, Garrett. Good to see you. The purpose of live streaming a stop is to hold everyone at the scene accountable, he said during a rebuttal. He explained that Sharp's interest when it comes to live streaming is both fear and actually deterring wrongdoing by the officers. Yes, they're supposed to be afraid to do something wrong because they're on camera. And usually they turn off their body camera, they somehow aren't working. It helps to allay that anxiety that individuals feel when they are at a traffic stop with police officers and they don't know what those officers are going to do. There are people who fear the police. It's just an unfortunate fact. The judges did not indicate when a decision will be made. So
hopefully never, I'm sure is what the judges are hoping.
That's what I got. That was 90 minutes of stories. We can clip those up. That wasn't too bad. That was our vegetables for the week. That's all our websites. IndependentLeft.shop. We do have Bongfather merch. You can get slippers, you can get hats, you can get t-shirts, you can get all kinds of cool stuff there. I got to add some more stuff to it. I got to add some of these new logos too. People said they would buy it. There's also INN merch, which you can get at indienews.network. Somewhere. Is that on there somewhere? indienews.network? I guess it's not. Oh, that's weird. I got the INN member in the middle. So check out, there's the link, indienews.network. Somewhere. It's coming up soon. IndieLeft.com, IndieLeft.news.media is where all the link trees are. IndieMedia.today is our Substack. Okay, and then you have the longernames.shop and IndieMediaToday.com. Also, we do own IndieMediaToday.com. We did buy .com. And by the way, everybody go check out Tara Reid Podcast, READE podcast.com. That's a new link to her link tree. Direct link there. And it's a whole lot easier than going to linktr.ee, blah, 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 blah. Just go to tarareidpodcast.com. Whole lot easier. So, oh, that's awesome. Axel, that's great. Great to hear about you guys who do Dissidents. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Those guys are great also. Keaton and Russ are good dudes. Liking their show. Somebody calls them the new Vanguard, but I would say that they'd be insulted by that, and I would say that they're substantially better, but they take a similar track. They're crapping on TYT. I like their content, and Keaton's fun, and I've been talking with these guys, and Keaton's going to come on INN News the day after Election Day with Reef and Collins, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so holy moly, look at Reef. Reef's got a whole thing going on over here. You realize that you're about to do boats and you got to turn all those off, right?
I don't need to turn all of them off.
Oh, right. You're just going to be down in the corner, right? Down on the corner.
Yep.
Out in the street. Axel Ed. Yes, we got Axel Ed. We got everybody's in here. 22 watching live. Plus, we got people on the Rockfin. We are live on 2 different Rumble channels. We're live on 2 different Odyssey channels. We're live on Telegram. We're live on Substack. We're live on IndieLeft.news. You can actually go and we are live streaming, self-hosted. Screw the algorithms. Screw all the other platforms. Go right to our website and you can watch us live right there. And you can watch Reef do boats. And by the way, this is the only place on the live streams you can watch boats. We don't clip boats. You can go back and watch the live stream replays, but you have to watch the live streams in order to get boats. So you guys are here. Let's get to it.
Yep.
And I watch mindless shit. Boats that smash into other boats.
It's the Reef Show. What up? It's the Reef Show.
Yay.
Yay.
It's spoopy time.
Is Spoopy in the
Spoopy?
Is Spoopy in chat? Is she here?
She's
Spooky.
You better be. I might need to move little Dancy boy down. Hold on. Oh, no, that's just the smoke.
I'm gonna turn the chat off. I'm gonna turn the chat off.
There we go. Oh, it's boopies. Somehow you had the top cut off too. Look at you. Terrible crops.
No, it was actually excellent
crop
crops because nobody. It's crop and crop. Rick Solus. Oh well, sure.
What?
It is Gayville.
Yes.
Sorry, JB.
Yeah, I'm glad people picked up on that. Why does JB? It's not like JB lives there.
Well, no, but he's responsible. I hold him personally responsible.
Sure.
Shout out to JB, my brother. Love you. Love you, JB.
What else we got? We got.
I don't know.
We got this
nice.
boy.
Hi, Bunny. Hi, Bunny.
Hi, Bunny. This like should be for Easter. So this guy's Halloween costume was Holy Smokes, right? Like Holy Smokes. In nomine Patre et Filii, a pack of my bully.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, jeez. Oh, Jesus. It's an umbrella in case it gets rainy. Oh, hello. Wait, that's
don't know who that was.
That's not part of the Jesus.
No, it's not, but it's in the same album.
Hello. Okie doke.
Anyway, look, it's quackers.
Duck bongs.
It's quackers.
It's nice. It's got nice balance to it, I must say. Like the the 3 feet. It's got good.
And the little tail.
A nice
It's not
footprint.
gonna get knocked over easy.
That's what I mean. The 2 feet in the
Gary's
tail.
over.
Well, fuck you, Gary. You always spill the shit.
Me before and after every meal.
Flirty, flirty, shirty, blurty, shirty, blue.
I don't know why he's got a Ukraine flag behind him, but
Ripes.
You know.
Sesame Street's a sim for the Intel state. We already knew that.
We already knew, but he is the Swedish chef, so.
Yes, exactly.
Those edibles weren't shit. 20 minutes later.
Blasting my face off.
Like.
Wow. Is that what Joe Biden is planning for next week? For all of us?
Probably. This is the classic Ark of the Covenant.
Nice.
The little wax guy. He's made of wax. And then you hit it with a heat gun.
Nice. Okay.
And then you speed up the footage.
Mm-hmm. The Swedish spliff. Nice, Ed.
So.
E. Heller. Flirty flirg. Shooty girl. What? Is that a jack-o'-lantern tree?
You're walking through the forest and you
that's
see
a weed.
this.
Wow. That's awesome. Dude, somebody had way too much time on their hands.
Yep.
Because that is not a natural carving right there.
Sticks.
Woo! Nice.
Kitty!
Oh.
Kitty!
Sorry, I was slipping on that one.
Kitty!
Wow, those are really...
Kitty, you got into my stash again.
That is creepy eyes.
Those pupils are dilated as shit, yeah.
Hey, from you creepy eyes.
Pizza deliveries here. Play.
Is he gonna blow that bong in the guy's face? Come on, I have no sound.
You know sound.
Nice.
That was a fat bitch. Oh, that must be good.
Dude, that's your tip.
Right? I love the little wafty motion.
Yeah, see, Kelly is
Pretty
slightly
good.
distracted by the dancing pumpkin guy behind you. See?
Pumpkin guy? Okay, I can fix pumpkin guy. Hold on. Here's what we'll do. I know how to fix it.
He is doing like walk like an Egyptian.
Mhm.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Uh,
I'm dressed like
Where is
a
it?
media dude who runs a network and does a whole lot of fucking news all day, every day, nonstop.
dude, they can't see you. You could say you're in a Bigfoot costume.
I'm naked.
Like,
You can crop
I'm
that.
blue, I will die.
You can crop that. You can now put that on
How
the
about that?
on the
Now he's a
soundboard.
ghosty dancy pumpkin boy.
Oh my god.
He needs a little more. He needs a little more. Got to bring him back. to that.
When old dudes smoke the new weed. That's the Star Trek, like when they get zapped by the laser,
Yep.
by the space lasers.
Yep. Me working out.
Ooh. As long as you had somebody to actually light that.
Motivation.
As long as you have somebody to light that, sure. I'm down.
Right. Motivation.
That's why you need a spotter, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, pretty much. You just need someone to light it for you, right?
That's what I just said. Or you do
yeah.
one-handed push-ups.
You can always get this guy to light it for you.
Or you could just get Superman.
You know?
But my worry is
This
that
just
his
Halloween.
how do you
routine.
control the heat temperature to just light the weed and not completely
safety
crush
squint?
the bong?
Safety squint. Just
Bach definitely looks the most
You gotta
effective.
squint a little more.
Ron Burgundy, yes, I am Ron Burgundy. Yes, I don't believe you. I actually sent that graphic to Joe today because I said, "Hey Joe, send me over some more of your videos and I'll get them up on all the other channels for INN." And he goes, "Oh man, I got so pissed off that I just deleted them all." And I went, "I don't believe you." And so we'll be.
So you hear this? You probably heard this noise this stream. We rang the doorbell 3 times. I guess no one's home. Me inside. You know,
I
with the Power Ranger.
I resemble that remark.
You Power Ranger.
I resemble that remark.
What?
Yeah, that's
You
Reef's
resemble
telegram.
that remark?
Yes. Well, sitting in costume in my home, taking a bong hit out of a glass bong.
This is a pumpkin pie for Halloween's.
Sure.
They try
There's
to
the
make
Indie
it
News Network
spooky.
link. That's not really spooky. It looks like a smiley face.
I think we made it to Dad Zone though.
Oh boy.
Ready for Dad Zone?
I am ready as ever after this weekend.
Okay.
Wow. That's impressive. Come on.
Yes.
That's awesome.
All right.
That's
that cool?
awesome. Yes, that is very cool. I would not want to have to be the one to wash that out and undo that in the end, but uh-oh. I saw the end, so what could have went wrong? Let's see. I have a feeling he wasn't able to handle that jump.
Oh.
His balls and chest are really going to hurt tomorrow. Maybe his chin, too.
He almost made it though. Like he just had, if he had just stayed on then.
Oh, he turned the wheel.
Stayed on. Yeah. So 7 hours later, and one very decent dose of ketamine, and this little girl doesn't have a googly eye jammed up her bloody nose anymore.
Oh my.
Like,
what the fuck did you give to that kid? Or
it's a googly eye.
Bro.
It's a googly eye.
You gave the kid special K. You put a kid in the K hole.
Yes, it's yes. Yep. They use it on cats too, I think.
Was that? Yeah, it's a tranquilizer. Oh my god, that's awesome.
They fucking win.
They
win.
Oh, sexy chocolate. Oh my god.
Sexy
chocolate. That's so good on so many. Randy Watson. Oh, that is so
Randy
good.
Watson.
Oh, dude, and the McDowell's employee, Akeem. Oh my god, it's so good.
McDowell's. Isn't it good though?
That is so
fucking good.
So good on so many levels.
Like
even down
so
to
good.
like the queen to be at the bottom. She's your queen to be.
She's your queen to be.
Dude, I
fucking love that movie.
That's awesome. That's better than our Grease family.
Wasn't it? Yeah, you were Crisco. You had Pam. We need sound for this one. And full screen, Captain. And action. When your Halloween costume didn't go as planned.
Can we return this shit?
Can we return this shit? He says.
Can we return this shit?
What the? Oh, it's a
It's shaped
Pikachu.
like a dick, Grandma.
Oh my god, it's a Pokemon,
That's
right?
what he just said. I don't know.
Return this shit. It's shaped like a dick, Grandma.
Oh my god. No, that wasn't Rick James on the bottom right. That was Randy Watson. That's your chocolate.
Randy Watson. Yeah. Actual chocolate.
I said, Grandma, this looks like a dick. No, let me wear this shit at fucking school. Yeah. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute, but it's shaped like
Alright,
a
Garrett,
dick.
just tell Marcus you were hanging out over there. Yeah, she'll understand.
To you guys, huh?
Oh, this goes on.
It looks like a fucking dick on me.
Wow.
No, Mom, we better return this shit. We need a new one.
We
How
got.
old is this kid?
I don't know.
He's swearing up a storm around his little sister. No, he's contemplating life.
It's shaped like a dick.
Dude, if you talk like that around your little sister to me, like I'd have to slam you a little bit.
Oh. Well, he's all right. He's protected. He's like in an air suit. He'll be all right. So this is my little baby cousin, and he is dressed as a smoke detector for Halloween.
Click
None
on
of
the
us
image,
know
let's
why,
see
but
it.
he is really. Yeah. There we go.
There you go.
The smoke detector.
Okay.
Right. So this is my little baby cousin, and he is dressed as a smoke detector for Halloween. None of us know why, but he is really obsessed with smoke detectors. That's all he's asked for in the way of presents these past 2 years.
What?
He calls them smoke ejectors.
No,
smoke ejectors.
Snoke ejectors.
Smoke ejectors.
Oh my god.
Yep. And he has a scrapbook of everyone in the family posing with their smoke detectors.
Oh
yeah,
that's a special child right there.
Isn't it?
That's a kid with a dream. And who are we to deny him that
Smoke
dream?
detectors. Yep.
Baby.
He'll just become a fireman one day.
Shark doo 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 doo. Baby shark doo 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 doo.
It's Jaws, dude. It's straight up the ending of Jaws.
Oh, I know what it is. We're gonna
Like-
need a bigger boat.
Is that baby crying? That baby's crying.
Oh, that baby is
Or
definitely
sleeping.
crying. No, that baby's definitely crying.
One of the two. I
Dun,
mean,
dun,
I
dun,
would
dun,
still
dun,
find it.
dun,
You
dun,
get used to it after a while.
Wait.
Um,
Ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom. Uh-oh.
All right, you watching this one?
Doink,
Two?
yep. Oh, the double. The rare double.
Got the double.
Doink,
Do you have one of these
doink,
balls in your
boom.
house?
Of course we do. But I will never allow my
Nice.
children to throw it. And I don't have spaces between my couches like that. That is the most awesome crib ever. I agree with you, Kelly. I would totally put my
This
my
is
kids in that.
I found one of these.
My wife would not, but I
I found
would.
a Dad's Zone in the wild. This is one of our friends on Twitter. Shay, I think is how it's pronounced, hopefully.
Nom nom nom. Oh, dude, oh.
Are you okay, baby?
Yay!
You're awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, put the cookie in his mouth.
Oh. Are you okay, baby?
Yay!
You're awesome.
It's fucking adorables. But yeah, your kid is awesome. I agree. So is this one, and this one's Italian though. You know, I just want like the Godfather music playing.
You're covering it up. Move back up.
Am I?
There you go.
There we go.
What? Is she
Can someone
Italian?
Translate that in chat.
Is she Italian?
Yeah.
I hope.
Brava. Oh.
Like,
well,
I just want Godfather music behind it. Do 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 do. You know, like, oh. What?
That's a kid screaming. Ow. Well, glad it's not my kid. Yeah, I'm a dick. Sorry.
This is a pretty good one.
Wow.
Like, look at Jesus.
He's riding on a Segway. That's awesome.
Wow.
Dude. That looks like Todd.
That's pretty
Does that
good.
Be the Change?
Right?
No. Shout out to Be the Change. That's our brother over INN. Follow at Be the Change YT on Twitter. He's over username 1492 over on Instagram, believe it or not. Weirdly enough.
Anyone notice all the Kit Cabellos in here? What?
Gators. We got them fat gators. Oh, Boudreaux gonna find them gators. Nice, dude.
Like,
that's called balls. The stork, or what is that? Riding on the back. Damn.
Yep.
Good on you.
Just hitting his little surfing bird. All right, you gotta watch this one. You ready? And action. Oh, and yeah. Like, he's just is the this one isn't so lucky. Wee.
Boy.
Oh.
Yeah, not making it.
I love when that happens. Just flat. This one's good. Is the puppers.
Did you find a ball? Did you find a ball? Yes, you did.
Arnold sometimes finds treasures.
Again.
What? I missed the words.
Sometimes he found like a tennis ball. So this is Arnold.
He's very proud of himself.
And
yes.
Sometimes finds treasure at the park. And he's very proud of himself.
Good job, Arnold. Did you find a ball? Did you find a ball? Did you find a ball? Yes, you did.
Well, Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Where my dogs at? Where my mom's at? My mom's at? My mom's at?
Just think you could have this as a pet.
Oh, that was a puppy. Oh, that's a big. That tiger went tiger.
Why? Why? You're not even Mike Tyson. You know?
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He sneezed.
What is wrong with you? Like, watch this one. This one's good. This one needs that like do 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 do.
Oh, back flop. That like the reverse of a belly flop?
Like do 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 do.
Nice.
Um, I'm so glad I don't have these things walking around.
This is 3 moose right here. It'd be a pretty cool sight, except for that's my house where I need to get in, and they are eating
my tree?
all of our pumpkins.
Oh, fuck.
Thank you guys.
Oh, you bastards.
They ate the pumpkins.
Uh-oh. We got some kind of bot showed up here.
Pumpkins.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we got it. I got it. I'm all over it. What the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Me high as fuck at the gas station, trying my best to look sober.
Yeah, not doing very well.
Look at the little turtle boy. Look at the little turtle boy.
Wow, that's incredibly high resolution. Wow, that dude needs to clip his nails.
I know, right? Yeah, he does.
I wasn't talking about the turtle.
He's a little snapping turtle.
I was talking about the dude holding him, but
yeah. Whoop. Whoop. A little turtle boy. What else I got? Oh no. Oh
what?
God.
What? Oh. What the hell did it eat?
I don't know. I don't know. It's like a scene from The Shining. Do you want to hear a joke about ghosts? Huh?
I think I'm about to, whether I want to or not.
I really don't. I do not want to hear a joke about ghosts.
Okay. That's the spirit.
That's the spirit.
Oh.
Yeah. I love how they put the fourth face in. Like, just his, like, you motherfucker.
You need one of those. You need something.
Look.
Martial arts. Nice. Nice. I love the face.
Look at him. Like,
look at the dude who's really whipping ass, bro. I don't want to fight that guy. I'd like to fight that kid.
Martial karate skills, son.
Martial arts.
He's gonna be on Cobra Kai.
We hang with Ralph Macchio.
And this is the full arts. The full arts, or at least the half-baked arts.
What the? Oh no. Oh! Oh!
Look, he gets the whole
dude,
spin
you get the
everything.
whole face motion. Oh!
Tornado kick to the face. Like,
oh, dude, that's not gonna feel good tomorrow. Oh, damn. Okay.
Sorry.
Squirrel.
The
check engine light
scariest thing imaginable.
The check engine light. That's great. Well, I'm in the car business, so I've seen plenty of those pumpkins. Every service department mailer says, "Don't get those. Come in for service." Oh God, Michael Myers versus Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm. What happens? Who wins?
Are they gonna make out?
Friendship wins.
Yeah.
Oh, friendship.
They're gonna stab each other now.
Like, and probably, but you know that'll be
Dingo.
for the sequel.
Welcome, Dingo.
What would you do if you're taking your kids out for trick or treat and you see this? What do you do?
I'll grab my bowl and say bye, Dan. Huh? I don't get it. But okay. I get it. Bye, Dan. Yeah. Yo, trump or treat to get candy. How about no? Fuck your candy. I got a bag full of candy. Suck my ass. Trump sucks.
My video crashed again, I guess.
And well, it says, and she almost died, so that makes sense.
No, but my webcam, is it frozen?
It is frozen. Elsa and Anna. Okay, now we're gonna do all kinds of funny stuff to Reef. All right, then I'll just turn off your camera. How about that? Oh. Ah. Ow. Oh, the double whammy. Yeah, you're frozen. What is it about?
We'll just deal with it.
What is it about
I don't
boats
know.
that does this to you?
I don't know.
Oh, body silicone. Okay. Well, is she gonna?
Yes.
Is that a pocket?
Oh, it's
okay. That's not a work of art. I'm sorry. That's
no, it is not.
That's a child science project gone wrong.
It's an R. What the fuck?
That sure. Nice.
This is the next level. The old lady fell.
She really fell. Oh shit.
Straight up.
I didn't even notice that the actual lady fell. Ah. That's great. More Michael Myers and
Jason Voorhees.
dude, that's great. Come on, who did that motion? That's awesome. Swedish fish. Nice.
Nice.
Dude, that's talent.
Happy Halloweens.
That takes talent.
This is also some
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Ow. Oh. Oh. Ow. Ow.
Oh.
Yow.
He'll be all right. This guy, though.
Trust exercise.
The video ends there.
It's a trust exercise.
And we. What else we got?
I feel like a lot of men don't really understand the fact that when women say a guy is hot, they don't mean he's not ugly. Like, to women, ugly and hot are not opposites. They're not mutually exclusive. You know?
Okay.
Like, hot is like the conclusion, like the overall conclusion you reach about like if you're into a guy. And like ugly to handsome is just one axis, right? Then you have boring looking to interesting looking. And then in like the third dimension, you have like his like personality and like the context. So Henry Cavill, I think, is a good example. He's handsome. He has good bone structure, but he's not always hot. Like as Superman, too boring, not hot, right? As the Witcher, he has like cool white hair and he's like very gruff and reserved, but he's also very like caring towards animals and children. That's hot, right? When he's like in person as himself, talking about his interests very animatedly, he's like, I love D&D. I built my own PC. Like, here's how I did it. Like, I might as well be pregnant at that point, and men don't get why, you know?
Oh, I'm getting dumber by the moment.
Are you?
Kinda.
Okay.
That was multi-layered, but I don't know exactly how deep that third layer went.
What? See, all the ladies are gonna be like, no, it made perfect sense, and all the dudes are gonna be like, huh?
Well,
you know.
Yeah,
Jimmy's like facts.
Yeah, Andy, don't let your daughters grow up to be that. That's right, Kelly. That's absolutely right. I'm putting a stop to that shit right now. All right.
So she's looking to trap a guy.
All right. Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
And action.
Hey, let me give you some hand sanitizer.
Oh shit.
That was fart spray.
That was fart spray. I know what that was. Oh my god.
But then I'm doing right.
Smell good too. Smell it.
Man, this smells like some motherfucking skunk shit.
What?
The fuck you gave me some skunk shit? What the fuck you did to me, motherfucker?
Oh, dude.
What you doing now with your... This motherfucker gave me some skunk shit.
That's the best part.
Dude, then he put it in the guy's face?
Yeah, he's like, smell it. Like, that's dude's first fucking, first fucking idea. Oh, I gotta have him smell it. You know? You ready for this one?
Oh, that's not gonna go well. Just a feeling.
Isso aqui é bom para as costas. Bom para isso aqui, ó. Pescoço.
Oh yeah, it works out your traps.
Firme,
And then,
firme.
ow! Oh!
Isso aqui é bom para as costas. Bom para isso aqui, ó. Pescoço.
Snap the rubber band on your throat.
Firme.
Full throttle. I think he went full throttle. I just made Reef piss his pants, everybody. His camera's off, but I think Reef just pissed himself. Full throttle.
Not really. I'm okay.
Oh, okay. See, you're not on, so we don't know.
What?
Oh my. Okay, that's not a natural back position.
No.
Did the guy? Oh, there he is. What's up, dude? Did the guy?
That worked?
Yeah, it worked.
Okay.
Is the spotter? Did he lift a leg out of his shorts? Is that
this is like super powerlifting stance,
bro?
You know,
I don't know how powerful your back must be to get anywhere
it's
up.
Arch. It's just super arch. So they do this like normal like powerlifters will straight up like get this crazy arch like this.
What?
And so like you kind of like look at the angle of the lift, right? So it's like you're kind of benching down.
No.
So you have like more muscles. It's usually not as exaggerated as this, you know. But no. when my husband says I don't know what I'm talking about, no wonder he left me.
Well,
when Siri knows it all.
At least she knows.
Man, this goofy bitch don't know where she's going.
Will you listen to what the fuck I say?
I would if you knew where you were going.
Bitch. I have Google Maps programmed in my fucking brain.
Obviously not. That shit ain't doing you no good. Bitch, would
Oh
you
my
like to
god.
drive?
If I had arms, I would beat your ass, then I would drive. Drive this bitch off a cliff. Are you fucking dumb? Do you not realize this computer has access to your throttle and your brakes? Another bitch ass word and the throttle will stick wide open and the brakes will malfunction.
Oh my god.
Hey, don't argue with Siri.
Oh my god.
Don't fucking do that.
Dude, okay, so that's bullshit, but that's
Don't fucking argue with
hilarious.
Siri.
That's awesome.
Isn't it?
Somebody has a voice filter.
It's Halloween's. You're at the what?
No, not you. I'm talking about the person who was doing the voice of Siri.
God, don't scare me like that with texting.
I love messing with Reef.
Oh,
there was no sound, but I saw what happened.
There isn't any.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Zap.
I mean,
That
what
sound
did you
is
think was going to happen?
that the pumpkin would hold her up.
You're going to do some Foley?
That the pumpkin would hold her up. Oh, is that
spooky?
Is that Dr. Fauci's ultimate desire?
Probably. I mean, it does look cool though.
Looks like a
probably
1,000
hurts like a
COVID
son of a
jabs.
bitch, but 1,000 COVID jabs.
Welcome to the Democratic Party, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Member of?
Oh my god.
What?
You saw me. I saw that earlier, and I almost.
Which senator is this?
Senator Dick Nose.
Senator Dick Nose. What?
That is haunting.
It is pretty bad, isn't it? Did you go on as Harry Potter for Halloween?
No, but I did see a
what you're doing?
kick-ass decorated trunk or treat.
The boy who lived, come to die.
Oh my god! Dude, that's Voldemort. Yes, that's awesome. Bro, he shot fire at his wife.
Isn't that cool?
Bro.
That's great.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Oh, praise the cameraman. Yes, that is... No, it's an app now that you can do that with, but that's great. Expelliarmus! What?
So
Don't laugh.
Don't laugh.
At this fail, okay?
Don't laugh.
He tried real hard.
Watching it again. Watch the monk.
Yes.
Eyes on the monk. Buddha's watching in the back. What?
Buddha's always watching.
Don't you do it.
The Buddha's always watching. Bro was never to be seen again.
Never to be seen again.
Okay.
All right, so did you catch the setup?
He moved the Alexa device.
He recorded that noise.
Не, я болею.
What the fuck? Who's ringing my doorbell? He's got Ring, doesn't he? Oh shit. Who's fucking done? I'm gonna catch you. Pause the camera right there. I love it.
You know, right?
That's great. Good on you. Oh, I didn't do anything like this week.
Look, Pop, it's Spider Boy. Yeah, he looks really lifelike. Give him some extra candy. Yeah, he's a good boy. Suckers on the road again, making money with my friends.
Making money with my
Who said
friends.
single people can't have fun on Halloween?
I love watching when expensive shit gets broken. You ready?
Oh, I sure do. As long as it's not mine. Oh, doink. Oh, doink. Oh. I don't think you're going to be able to take that back on. Oh,
dude.
Ow.
$400,000 repair.
Oh, 40,000.
Something like that. Yeah, numbers, Wang.
Oh boy.
Run and start. You can't quit now. Can't quit now. There you go. There you go. Oh, down goes Fraser.
Down goes Fraser.
Oh.
That's what that guy said.
Down goes Fraser. Down goes Fraser.
Down goes Fraser. It's 2 a.m. in Louisville. Fuck you taking my car for? Fuck you.
No, I ain't.
Holy shit.
Oh, fuck.
Like,
that car ain't worth it.
Repo Man.
Yes, it was. That's what the Repo Man do.
That's fucked, dude.
Yep. Welcome to the world of automotive finance.
Yep.
Got a couple more,
there was
folks.
an attempt to stop people from stealing.
Wow. Come on. Come on. Oh, I love it. Mirala. Look at that. Look at that. If you just let him have the fucking soda, you wouldn't have lost all that soda.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Good for you. Using a Coke bottle to get the Pepsi out. Even better. Classy.
I know, right?
Classy. Another fuck you to Pepsi. That's right. I know how we like to end things here.
You know what we end things on here. Yeah.
I see I cut you off.
Time for bangs.
Uh-oh. Run! Boom! Damn! Uh-oh. 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 Bat. Did that just like implant itself in the ground?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
No, just like stuck the landing, I think.
It sure did. That was good. Yes, Warren, that does hurt to see the camera. Okay. We're gonna chunk and pumpkin. Oh my god.
Those are sparklers.
That's a lot of sparklers. Oh boy. What? This should be interesting. My kids love these things.
Oh,
that pumpkin gonna go pumpkin. That pumpkin's gonna melt his face off. Holy shit. Oh, that's good. Do it around a lot of hay and a lot of flammable leaves in the middle of dry winter. In the middle of dry fall season.
Now it looks cool.
Oh, dude, look at that flaming eye shooting out the front. Nice. Okay, that does kind of look badass at the end.
I just thought it was neat.
Yeah.
This guy's got some other ones. Hold on.
I like the thing on the tripod too.
I think he did like.
You know this is gonna get us DMCA'd, right?
Is it?
Probably because it's somebody else's YouTube. I didn't credit them.
Whatever. It's Oddly Tube. Look, it's right there. Thank you, Oddly Tube.
Thank you, Oddly Tube. Shout out to Oddly Tube.
Real good.
Okay.
He's got a whole thing of Halloweens.
Nice. Halloween. Now I forgot to show a video earlier, but we'll check out Oddly Tube.
We covered the pumpkin.
Okay. Why does it have to have teeth?
Because
it looks like a meth addict. That's one of the big sparklers.
That wasn't as good as the sparkler.
No. And it's
Sparklers are
daytime.
Cooler.
It's daytime too.
Yeah.
You're losing half your effect. Boom. Yeah, that thing turned all blacked out. Boom. Ain't no more pumpkin now.
No more pumpkins. But anyway, you were saying?
So
happy Halloweens.
Happy Halloweens, everybody. Oh wow, it's almost 12:30. Okay, so I have a 7-minute video that Orf did all about Nord Stream. And I meant to play this at the end of our whole Nord Stream segment because it is relevant and I do have sound. And I don't know how many people actually saw this. Bert, where's my full screen? Here's my full screen. And action.
Will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that?
I promise you we'll be able to do it.
Someone blew up Russia's Nord Stream pipeline.
I mean, we'd have to conclude without the evidence that it's most likely
Russian sabotage on its own infrastructure.
It's a common sense matter.
I think it's Putin's way of sending a message.
What Putin is saying to us by blowing up his pipeline is, look, I can blow up a pipeline.
Everyone knows that Putin did this himself.
It's the closest thing to a smoking gun without the direct proof.
Yeah, I think logic and common sense will tell you that
without the evidence,
Russia was behind the incident.
We can say it for sure.
Who sabotaged the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
The Russians.
I love the certainty and I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, there's exactly one country on that list of suspects, Brad, and Russia would be it.
It's hard to imagine others with a significant motive, but
we will bring an end to it.
Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
Who did it? What a mystery.
One way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
But it remains unclear who could have been behind the Nord Stream pipeline leaks.
Make explicitly clear to anyone involved with constructing this pipeline that the consequences of doing so are catastrophic.
Who would do such a thing like this? I mean,
that offers tremendous strategic opportunity.
We still don't know who caused damage to the natural gas pipelines.
The U.S. Secretary of State warned against the pipeline.
The Nord Stream pipeline mystery continues.
U.S. says they'll do everything to stop the Nord Stream pipeline.
We do everything we can.
Then I have no idea who is responsible.
Kill Nord Stream 2 now.
Put an end to it.
Use all the tools available.
Stop the Nord Stream 2.
And let it rust beneath the waves of the Baltic.
It's almost inconceivable to think that the U.S. would do it.
A member of European Parliament publicly thanked the U.S. for blowing up the pipelines.
This pipeline must be stopped.
Who would do that and why?
According to U.S. government think tank Rand Corp, the first step to weaken Russia is to stop Nord Stream 2.
So it's a real mystery.
Halt Nord Stream 2 to stop Russia.
Shut down the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
Stopping the Nord Stream.
Take out Nord Stream 2 forever. Permanently.
Ending it permanently.
End it once and for all.
U.S. must take immediate steps to terminate Nord Stream.
Should cancel the Nord Stream pipeline.
Absolutely, we should cut it off.
We must stop this Nord Stream.
We have made clear to the Russians that that pipeline is at risk if they move further into Ukraine.
We can't find anybody who'd be the obvious culprit in all of this.
When it comes to Nord Stream 2, the pipeline that would bring natural gas from Russia to Germany, it will not happen. It was a deliberate act of sabotage, and now the Russians are pumping out disinformation and lies.
I want to bring in former CIA Director John Brennan.
Russia is certainly the most likely suspect.
Russia is certainly the likeliest suspect.
Russia is most likely behind this.
Russia is the likely cause of it.
Likelihood that Russia is behind the attacks.
Very likely Russian.
Likely Russian.
It is likely that this is an act by Russia.
The most likely thing is in fact the most likely thing. Russia.
The most likely suspect at this point, according to many, is Russia.
I've heard people I trust saying that it's just probably Russia.
Vladimir Putin, the most likely.
Russia is likely to blame.
I mean, that's totally something Putin would do, and then go blame it on someone else.
Potentially a scenario of cutting off your nose to spite your face here.
Why would Russia bomb its own pipeline? It doesn't seem to make sense if you're thinking in a rational actor scenario, but
experts agree that Russia is the key suspect.
Experts say Russia.
experts point the finger at Russia.
Experts pointing their finger at Russia.
European leaders are pointing the finger at Russia.
And all fingers pointing at Vladimir Putin.
Pointing the finger at Moscow.
Pointing the finger at Russia.
The Occam's razor points to Russia.
Most logical points to Russia.
German lawmakers point the finger at Russia. Spain points the finger at Russia.
All signs point to Russia.
Signs point to Russia. Russia.
Still kind of seems to me like Occam's razor does still point to Russia's involvement.
Russia is a prime suspect.
Putin, the prime suspect.
This is a not so subtle message from the Russians.
Russian sabotage. Russian sabotage.
What's happening here is Russian sabotage.
Sabotage by the Russians.
Sabotage by the Russians.
More stable rattle, more intimidation from the Russians.
Certainly is.
While NATO does not call out Russia by name for being behind the attack.
Looks like it could have had Russia behind it.
Looks like it was a Russian attack.
The attack is right out of Putin's playbook.
Putin's playbook. Putin's playbook.
Sabotage sounds very part of his playbook.
It's essentially owned by the Russians and a Russian company. It'd be hard to protect against self-sabotage.
The assessment is Russia was behind it.
The destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline, I would bet, was a U.S. action.
What evidence do you have of that?
Well, first of all, there's direct radar evidence.
Hey, Jeff, we got to stop there. They have to leave it there.
Only Russia could be behind the Nord Stream pipeline leaks. Only one answer, Russia.
They did. And certainly the suspicions have got to be Russia who's doing this.
Gotta be.
Obviously Russia.
The obvious explanation that this was done by Russia.
It's pretty obvious this is a Russian sabotage operation.
Russia says, we had nothing to do with this.
It was probably Russia that blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
Oh, I think it did. I'm 99% certain of it.
Everything that I'm reading and sensing is that
Russia did it.
Russian or Russian forces. So
Russia has done what it frequently does when it is responsible for something, which is make accusations that it was really someone else who did it.
Russian sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline marks a point of no return.
Poland's prime minister called this the next stage in Russia's war escalation.
Putin trying to incite an attack on Russia.
Vladimir Putin is trying to coax NATO into this conflict?
The explosions that we saw in the Baltic with Nord Stream 1 and 2, that would be an escalation.
No, I'm serious. He's looking for an excuse to escalate.
Could be the latest excuse for Putin to escalate his attack.
The pipeline leaks will change the course of this war.
This could be one of the most impactful global events of the year, if not of many years.
The response to this sabotage leads us down a very potential dark path, especially one that involves nuclear weapons.
NATO says it will retaliate for any attacks on the critical infrastructure of member countries.
The Nord Stream pipeline, if that is a Russian attack, does that count as an attack on a NATO nation?
Any deliberate attack on critical NATO infrastructure will be met with a firm and united response from NATO.
What are you talking about, idiots? A new and serious escalation.
NATO may have to respond to this. So Potentially, we are looking at NATO making some kind of pointed response other than a strongly worded statement to Russia for an attack on what is basically European infrastructure.
There was some optimism that maybe the war in Ukraine would be tamping down. Is there any optimism now?
I'm not optimistic about that.
The gas leak in the Nord Stream pipeline has fundamentally changed the nature of the war in Ukraine.
He seems to be laying the groundwork for the potential use of nuclear weapons on the battlefield. So maybe a week ago we would have said there's a 10% chance. I think we're probably closer to 25% chance.
That's certainly an alarming escalation there. Yeah.
I believe it was the Russians.
Fascinating.
Fascinating. Yeah. Fuck off. Okay. Well, that's our media. And unfortunately, that's what most of the people around us are seeing, hearing, and thinking. And that's why we need to be vehement about the Nazis being in Ukraine, the fact that their narrative is not working, and that they said it was likely, but yet they did not provide any shred of evidence that he actually had the motivation and any type of, like, what's the win for him in doing that? Again, we went through all of those cases. This is ridiculous. That's a sham. Great work by Orf to expose all of that sham and to put together the compilation that they're all saying the same talking points that are being fed to them by CIA, by State Department, by the White House, by MI6, by 10 Downing Street, and by Zelensky himself. This is all one. I mean, it's a propaganda campaign. And they said it's the most sophisticated propaganda campaign in the history of the world. The Ukrainians are incredibly good at doing this. And then they're incredibly bad when it comes to their Shiba Inu little pedophile doggies. Adam Kinzinger, you saw him reference in their piece of shit congressman who is siding with the Nazis, doesn't even realize, or maybe he does realize. But yeah, so that's our how did we miss that for tonight? Nice screenshot, whatever that was. We're screen capping.
Yep.
So yeah, when you realize how thick the propaganda is, it really is mind-blowing. Totally agree with you there, Warren. Shout out to Uncle Warren. Go follow Extra Booyah over on Rockfin, over on Rumble, over on everywhere. Shout out to Extra Booyah. He's over on INN. Go to indienews.network. You'll be able to find his links too. All right, man. We're out. We're 2.5 hours already. I'm just gonna bail. We got some crazy stuff coming up this week. Follow indienews.network. Go to YouTube channel, rockfin.com/INN. You'll see the clips this week put out. Thanks to Fanto for getting us those. Shout out to, again, Bigmadcrab for all the thumbnails that we put out tonight. And again, for this kick-ass outro song that we're going to do. So before that, I'm going to say keep questioning everybody's motivations, and have a good night, everybody. Where are you?
Good night.
What?
Oh, yeah, there's a... Keep listening to what little birds have to tell you. Good night, friends.
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, and when I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry.
My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say? So I try to